Chapter 141. In the end, disgusting oneself. On the other side, within the residence of Xiao Qingchang, the prefect of Qinglu County, Zhang Qingsong and his son, Zhang Wenwu, were sitting with the esteemed prefect, enjoying tea. Despite Zhang Wenwu's junior status, he was treated with respect due to his close connection with Chu Zhetian, the esteemed elder of the Great Song Martial Academy, being his direct disciple. Xiao Qingchang, therefore, showed him special consideration. At this moment, Xiao Qingchang produced a thick stack of silver notes, along with a spatial pouch. Each silver note was worth 100,000 taels. There were 50 of them in total. These were the compensation tax that Liang, Xiao Qingchang's chief clerk, had just collected from Chu Zhetian that day. Mr. Zhang, young Master Zhang, Xiao Qingchang said with a smile. This is the 5 million taels in silver notes and 1,700,000 spirit stones I have secured for you. Please accept them. Upon hearing this, Zhang Qingsong immediately stood up, bowed deeply to Xiao Qingchang, and said with genuine gratitude, "We are deeply grateful for Prefect Zhao's help in taking action. This compensation tax should naturally be deposited into the county treasury." Zhang Wenwu also nodded. "We hope Prefect Xiao will accept our appreciation." "Ha ha ha, you are too polite. Let's do this. I'll keep 10 million taels of the silver notes and 1 million of the spirit stones." Xiao Qingchang said with a smile, seemingly very satisfied with the Zhang family's expressions of gratitude. "Very well. Your Excellency's generosity is truly admirable." Zhang Qingsong immediately heaped on the flattery. Xiao Qingchang waved his hand, and then abruptly changed his tone. "By the way, at tomorrow's auction hosted by Chao Tianrui, I must have the demon core of the 10,000-year ginseng spirit. I have some spirit stones and silver notes of my own, but I'm worried it won't be enough. If there's a need, I'll rely on you, Mr. Zhang, to lend a hand." As the prefect of Qinglu County, Xiao Qingchang was, in essence, a civil official, but he was also a powerful cultivator. His strength was currently at the peak of the 9th stage of the Golden Core realm. Ginseng, a type of heavenly material, naturally develops sentience with age. After transforming into a ginseng spirit, its demon core becomes a top-grade spirit item that allows cultivators to break through into the nascent soul realm. Therefore, Xiao Qingchang was determined to obtain that demon core. Hearing this, the expression on Zhang Qingsong's face immediately froze for a moment, and then he forced a strained smile, saying, Of course. This Zhang will certainly support your excellency with all my might to acquire that demon core. Then I will rely on Mr. Zhang. Speaking of which, it's all that selfish and overbearing bastard, Chao Tianrui. He sees things for himself, and then put them up for auction to profit. It's simply outrageous. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't need to trouble Mr. Zhang. Heh. Xiao Qingchang grumbled. Chao Tianrui, the prefect of Qinglu County, commanded an army of 100,000 soldiers, the Qinglang army. Among them, there were many powerful cultivators. In recent years, the entire Great Song dynasty had been in turmoil, with rebellions sprouting up everywhere. Qinglu County was no exception. Therefore, Prefect Chao Tianrui led the Qinglang army in continuous battles. While suffering casualties, the Qinglang army also grew stronger, and they seized countless resources, as well as rare treasures. According to the regulations of the Great Song dynasty, these seized cultivation resources and treasures should be handed over by local prefects to the Great Song Martial Academy of each region to be stored in the Great Song treasury. What's worth mentioning is that the Great Song Martial Academy in Qinglu County was aligned with Xiao Qingchang, the prefect. They were at odds with Chao Tianrui, the prefect who held a powerful military force. If Prefect Xiao had truly handed over these resources to the Great Song Martial Academy, perhaps Xiao Qingchang could have obtained the 10,000-year ginseng spirit demon core without any effort. But now, he had to pay a huge price at auction. Next, after the Zhang father and son exchanged more polite but hollow pleasantries with the prefect, they left his residence. After getting into their carriage, Zhang Wenwu snorted coldly. Xiao Qingchang is nothing but a blood-sucking pirate. That demon core can help golden core cultivators break through to the nascent soul realm, and it will definitely fetch a sky-high price. Xiao Qingchang ripped us off 10 million taels of silver and 1,000,000 spirit stones, and it still wasn't enough. He even wants our Zhang family to help him bid on the demon core tomorrow. At this rate, it might be better just to give him the full 50 million. Zhang Qingsong also had a gloomy expression and finally sighed, "What choice do we have? Our Zhang family in Qinglu County has to rely on Xiao Chengchong. Forget it, just consider it paying for misfortune." Zhang Wenwu said resentfully, "If I had known, I wouldn't have asked this pirate to help deal with Chu Zhetian." "All right, stop talking about it." Hearing his son bring this up, Zhang Qingsong immediately felt as if he had swallowed a fly. That was right. This time, it was Zhang Qingsong who had proactively sought out Prefect Xiao for help, hoping to embarrass Chu Zhetian. To teach Chu Zhetian a lesson before his eldest son's master, Chu Zhetian, emerged from seclusion and to recover some of their losses. Of course, he was also prepared to give a portion of the spoils to the prefect. But he never expected that the man would not only take 10 million in silver and 1,000,000 spirit stones, but would also ask for their help at the auction. This was undoubtedly a case of shooting themselves in the foot for the Zhang father and son. They wanted to annoy Chu Zhetian, but in the end, they disgusted themselves. By the time, they recovered the 5 million taels of silver, plus the 1,700,000 spirit stones from Chu Zhetian, it might not even be enough. What the hell was going on? The more they thought about it, the more uncomfortable Zhang Qingsong and Zhang Wenwu felt. Don't think so much. Being able to annoy Chu Zhetian is considered a victory. Just treat it as paying someone to deal with that dog thief. Wenwu, as long as you follow Qin Jinfu and cultivate well, if you one day become a void severing or even a Dao fusion expert, Xiao Qingchong, this pirate, will have to repay us 10 or 100 times over for the advantage he's taken from us today. After a long while, Zhang Qingsong said with a look of intense anticipation in his eyes, I understand, father." Zhang Wenwu nodded. That day, in a room at an inn in Qinglu City, a group of people were sitting together, discussing something. "Father, can the immortal spirit auction tomorrow really have a divine object that can restore us to sight?" A voice full of anticipation, yet also fear, rang out. The speaker was a young woman of exquisite beauty. Her features were delicate, but her eyes were covered with black silk. It was none other than Su Ruoyan, whose eyes had been gouged out previously. Beside her was Su Hongtu, who had also lost his eyes. Besides the father and daughter, there was also a beautiful young woman and a strong young man. The young woman was Su Hongtu's concubine, Madame Yang. The young man was another of Su Hongtu's direct disciples, named Yin Chao. As for Su Hongtu's younger daughter, Su Ruoyan's younger sister, Su Ruoyan, she did not come with them. After what had happened before, neither Su Hongtu nor Su Ruoyan considered Su Ruoyan as family anymore. In the eyes of this father and daughter, Su Ruoyan was in league with Chu Zhetian, a traitor and a disgrace who had betrayed her own family. Besides Su Ruoyan, the Su father and daughter also did not bring Zhang Beichen, who had also had his eyes gouged out. For no other reason, they didn't want to share the divine object that could restore sight with Zhang Beichen. Chapter 142. You think the Peak Lord doesn't earn his title? Facing Su Ruoyan's state of both hope and fear, Su Hongtu nodded and spoke with certainty. That's right. I have received reliable information that among the auction items brought out by Prefect Chao, there are 2 drops of a flood dragon's essence blood. The body of this flood dragon demon had reached the legendary level of the myriad transformations realm of body refinement. At that level, its body is almost immortal. Even if only a drop of blood remains, it can still revive. And a single drop of essence blood within its body can regenerate severed fingers. When the time comes, we can bid for those 2 drops of essence blood, and our eyes will be able to grow back. Speaking of which, Su Hongtu's voice was also filled with anticipation. The feeling of longing to see the light again was something that those who had not experienced it could not possibly understand. The feeling of being dominated by darkness was sometimes even harder to bear than death. Su Ruoyan nodded repeatedly. In the next second, she asked somewhat uncertainly, "Father, do you have enough money and spirit stones?" That drop of great demon essence blood will probably be a sky-high price. Speaking of this, Su Hongtu fell silent for a moment, and finally waved his hand at Madame Yang and his disciple Yin Chao. You two go out first. After the two of them left, Su Hongtu finally put on a smile and said, Daughter, don't worry. Your father has been the Peak Lord of Azure Dragon Peak for so many years, do you think it's for nothing? Your father now has a full 10 million spirit stones, and in addition, 20 million silver notes. In these years, many resources that the sect had allocated to Azure Dragon Peak should have been distributed to all the disciples of Azure Dragon Peak for their cultivation. However, a large part of them had been secretly kept by Su Hongtu himself. This was also the reason why Su Hongtu had not dared to let the sect master Yu Shuihan investigate the accounts of Azure Dragon Peak after that small stone had been crippled by Chu Zhetian. So Su Hongtu had an astounding fortune at his disposal. So much. Su Ruoyan's face flushed with excitement upon hearing this. That's great. Then we will definitely be able to bid for those 2 drops of essence blood. Su Ruoyan, will soon see the light again. Speaking of this, the woman's mind couldn't help but flash back to the cruel and cold appearance of Chu Zhetian that day. Her facial features immediately contorted, forming a look of resentment. Chu Zhetian, you want me to live in a lifetime of pain. Dream on. Su Ruoyan, will soon be reborn. Su Hongtu's expression immediately darkened when he heard his daughter mention Chu Zhetian, and he also showed a strong look of resentment. But in the next second, it turned into a long sigh. Ruoyan, I advise you to let go of your hatred for Chu Zhetian. He's too strong now. It's almost impossible for us to take revenge. Hearing this, Su Ruoyan fell silent for a moment. She knew that the gap between her and Chu Zhetian was getting wider and wider. In the past, that man she had regarded as a nobody and a sycophant, she could now only look up to. To take revenge on him? Although Su Ruoyan knew that it was almost impossible, her heart was still filled with resentment. In the blink of an eye, it was the next day. Qinglu City, East City. Outside the barracks of the Qinglang army, a number of spirit beasts and carriages were parked. And within the barracks, an immensely spacious open-air training ground had been arranged with rows of seats today. This immortal spirit auction was to be held in this temporary venue set up by the Qinglang army. Although it was somewhat crude, it was, fortunately, under the control of Prefect Chao Tianrui. At this moment, Chu Zhetian, with Huohua, also appeared in this open-air auction house. As for Yu Zhaolu, Zhang Dalai, including Yueyue and the others, Chu Zhetian did not bring them. He would naturally bid on anything they needed. But today, considering that there might be unforeseen events at this auction, he only brought Huohua, who was even more powerful than himself. Beside him and Huohua, there were 2 other people, a man and a woman. The woman was Emo Qingfei. The man was Emo Zhan, the person in charge of the Emo Feather Sect in Qinglu County. Because it had been mentioned before that Chu Zhetian would also come to this auction, Emo Qingfei and Emo Zhan had actually taken the initiative today to go to the Tai Xu Sect stronghold and invited Chu Zhetian to go together. This made the latter secretly smile wryly. He was not a fool and could naturally feel that Emo Qingfei seemed to have some affection for him. There are really quite a few people coming today. Besides us, the Luoshui Sect, the Black Phoenix Gate, and the Skyblade Gate are also here. Senior Chu, look, that middle-aged beautiful woman over there is a vice sect master of the Luoshui Sect. Her name is Luo Muan. And over there is an elder of the Black Phoenix Gate. Emo Zhan, following beside Chu Zhetian, recognized the people from the other sects and then generally told Chu Zhetian about them. Chu Zhetian nodded faintly and didn't take it to heart. After all, those who came, although considered big shots from various sects, were nothing to him. Experts at the nascent soul level did not appear. His gaze turned towards the direction of the Skyblade Gate. The person from the Skyblade Gate was Zhong Yingxiu, that is, Yu Zhaolu's nephew, the son of her sister Yu Xiaoxia, and currently the nominal young master of the Skyblade Gate. The youth's scene of cutting off his father Zhong Wanhai's head with his own hands to avenge his mother left a deep impression. Upon seeing Chu Zhetian, a respectful smile immediately appeared on Zhong Yingxiu's face. Then, He wanted to walk over to say hello. However, he was stopped by Chu Zhetian, who shook his head and motioned him not to come over. After taking their seats, Chu Zhetian continued to look around. Besides the people from the 3 sects and 2 gates, there were many other smaller cultivation powers, or even rogue cultivators, or some wealthy people. At this moment, Chu Zhetian's eyes narrowed slightly. He saw Zhang Qingsong accompanying a middle-aged man with a dignified appearance and great pomp walking into the auction house. As soon as this middle-aged man appeared, many people in attendance stood up to greet him. Even Emojan, who was beside Chu Zhetian. There was no other reason. This middle-aged man was the prefect of Qinglu County, Xiao. His status was clear, and even the high-level people from the 3 sects and 2 gates would address him as Your Excellency Xiao when they met him. Heh, it seems that the compensation tax yesterday was indeed related to Zhang Qingsong. Chu Zhetian saw the Zhang family head walking with the prefect and immediately sneered inwardly. And at this moment, as if feeling something, he subconsciously looked in another direction. This look immediately made Chu Zhetian raise an eyebrow. In a corner, 4 people were sitting. Su Ruoyan, Su Hongtu? You are here too? Chu Zhetian was somewhat surprised. But then, he guessed something. From Mo Qingfei, he had also seen some of the auction items announced in advance today. The Su father and daughter should be after that flood dragon essence blood. Chu Zhetian sneered inwardly, and his star-like eyes flashed with a look of ill intent. Chapter 143, loaded with subtext. At the end of the morning's Chunshi, 7 to 9 a.m., a man cloaked in black armor appeared on the temporary auction stage in the open-air training ground. The man had thick eyebrows, tiger-like eyes, and a tall and imposing figure. He had a killing aura about him, obviously cultivated through years of combat. This person was none other than the prefect of Qinglu County, Xiao Yueyue. Beside him was a deputy officer of the Qinglang army, who seemed to be acting as the auctioneer today. It's Lord Xiao. The prefect is here. I heard that Prefect Xiao is a void-severing expert. Seeing him today, he is indeed awe-inspiring. For a time, there was much discussion. Many people also stood up and greeted Xiao Yueyue. To these people, Xiao Yueyue merely nodded slightly, standing on the high platform. His entire person seemed aloof, cold to the extreme. Ha ha ha, Brother Xiao, everyone is about to lose patience. Hurry up and bring out your good items. At this moment, a burst of loud laughter rang out. The voice seemed to carry a strong sense of warmth and familiarity. Looking in the direction of the voice, it was Xiao Qingchong, the prefect, sitting in the front row, smiling at Xiao Yueyue. The seating arrangements for the auction today had not been specially arranged according to status, position, and strength. Therefore, Chu Zhetian and Mo Qingfei had just found a random seat. But as the prefect of Qinglu County, Xiao Qingchong, presuming on his status, naturally sat in the most prominent position in the front row. As the words fell, hearing the term, Brother Xiao, a somewhat perfunctory smile appeared on Xiao Yueyue's face. According to strength, Xiao Yueyue, the prefect, was a void-severing level 6 expert, while Xiao Qingchong was only at the peak of the 9th stage of the Golden Core realm. There was simply no comparison between the two. But the two were both officials of the Great Song dynasty. Xiao Qingchong had always relied on his age being greater and his power being more significant, and, in addition, the two had always been outwardly friendly and inwardly hostile, so he had always called Xiao Yueyue brother in order to annoy and suppress him. Why is Prefect Xiao in such a hurry? I didn't expect that you, the prefect, would also come to my auction. If Your Excellency Xiao hasn't embezzled anything, according to your salary, I'm afraid you won't be able to afford any of the auction items at my auction today, right? Could it be that Your Excellency is just here to join in the fun? Xiao Yueyue asked with a half-smile. This remark was undoubtedly sharp. For a moment, the entire scene was filled with hushed whispers. It had long been rumored that the prefect and the prefect didn't get along. Seeing it today, it was indeed the case. The two big shots, as soon as they met, spoke in veiled language. But whether it was the people from the 3 sects and 2 gates, or those rogue cultivators and wealthy people, they all enjoyed the scene. Brother Xiao is joking. Relying solely on my salary, I naturally can't afford the void-severing level items you have. But don't forget, I'm also a golden core expert. After living for so many years, can't a dignified golden core expert have some savings? It has nothing to do with embezzlement. Xiao Chengchong smiled faintly, saying it as a matter of course. Is that so? Xiao Tianrui pouted, saying nothing. In the next second, he didn't waste any more words with Xiao Qingchong, but instead glanced around the entire venue, giving a few opening remarks. As a resolute void-severing expert, Xiao Tianrui also didn't say too much, briefly speaking about the rules of this auction. Finally, he changed his tone. In short, today I, Xiao, thank everyone for coming. At today's auction, everyone can bid fairly with each other. If anyone tries to use their power to bully others, Xiao will absolutely uphold justice. In addition, no one is allowed to fight or kill here. If you have any personal grudges, or if you form grudges during the auction, you can do whatever you want after leaving here. If anyone dares to be arrogant while here, regardless of Xiao, you're on your own. Buzz. As the words fell, an incredibly terrifying pressure immediately filled the entire venue. The aura of a void-severing level 6 realm made everyone in attendance pale. Even Prefect Xiao Qingchong let out a muffled groan. It seemed that Xiao Tianrui's released pressure had clearly, specially taken care of him. And even Chu Zhetian had to use his spiritual power to resist. Imo Qingfei and Imo Zhan, who were next to him, found it difficult to breathe and their bodies trembled slightly. Only Huohua's expression was normal. Only his eyes were filled with a look of eagerness, sizing up Xiao Tianrui. It looked like he even wanted to try his hand against the other party. In the next second, after Xiao Tianrui had shocked the entire venue, he then immediately retracted his aura. Finally, he added another sentence. By the way, there's also something I'll reveal to everyone. Today, besides the items publicly listed in the auction booklet, there is one last, exceptional treasure that will serve as the finale. As for what it is, please allow me to keep it a secret for now. All right, now the auction officially begins. After finishing speaking, Xiao Tianrui gave a look to his subordinate next to him. He would act as the auctioneer for him. After the auction began, 2 soldiers from the Qinglang army were seen carrying the first auction item onto the stage. After unveiling the red cloth, there was a cauldron more than 2 meters high. This cauldron is a top-grade heaven-rank alchemy cauldron. Inside, a special formation has been set up by a land immortal alchemist, which can automatically remove impurities from the materials during alchemy. Therefore, it is called the 9 Revolutions Pure Cauldron. The pills made with it, even the most ordinary spirit-gathering pills, are comparable to Earth-rank spirit pills. In addition, this cauldron can also be used to refine immortal pills, which are immortal-grade pills. The starting price is 10 million silver notes, or 1 million spirit stones. Each bid increase cannot be less than 1 million silver notes, or 100,000 spirit stones. Those who are interested, don't miss it. The Qinglang Army deputy officer acting as the temporary auctioneer introduced with a loud voice. As the words fell, a commotion immediately broke out in the entire venue. It had to be said that Prefect Xiao's hand indeed held good items. Coming up, he presented a top-grade heaven-rank cauldron as the opening, directly heating up the atmosphere on site. Many people in attendance revealed a fiery look in their eyes. Pills were definitely a very important and effective auxiliary tool on the path of cultivation. Not only can they help cultivators improve quickly when they are at a low level, even when the level is high, there are also some incredibly rare, immortal pills, divine pills, that can even help cultivators comprehend the Tao, merge with the Tao, and even temper the immortal body. Therefore, the importance of alchemy can be imagined. However, the quality of the pills produced also greatly depended on the quality of the cauldron. As the saying goes, to do a good job, one must first sharpen one's tools. No matter how capable an alchemist is, it is absolutely impossible to refine immortal-grade pills using an ordinary cauldron. And this 9 Revolutions Pure Cauldron now meets the requirements for refining immortal pills. At this moment, even Chu Zhetian also revealed a look of interest. Chapter 144. Just scaring you. Alchemy? Chu Zhetian could also do it. In fact, Having lived through his previous life, he could be considered proficient. His study of the path of alchemy was no worse than some so-called alchemy masters. The reason he hadn't revealed it in this life was simply because, at his lower levels, there were no pills worth his personal effort to refine. Furthermore, with the devouring saint physique and the supreme Tao scripture, his own cultivation progressed far faster than by taking ordinary pills. But this didn't mean that Chu Zhetian would never need to refine pills himself. In my memories of the previous life, there are methods for refining some immortal pills and divine pills. There is even a recipe for a saint pill. Divine pills and saint pills are far off. But this cauldron that can refine immortal pills, if the cost isn't too high, I can give it a try. Chu Zhetian thought inwardly. 13 million silver notes. At this moment, a wealthy merchant had already raised the price by 3 million. 1,500,000 spirit stones. Following that, Ruoyan, the vice sect master of the Xiao sect, also called out. Every sect had its own alchemists. A heaven-rank, top-grade cauldron was useful to anyone. 18 million silver notes, 20 million silver notes, 2,100,000 spirit stones. Next, the bidding voices rose and fell in succession. Even Imogen, who was by his side, had bid twice. As the person in charge of the Mo Feather sect in Chang'e County City, the sect had also given him a considerable sum of money for this immortal spirit auction. It was to allow him to bid on some treasures useful to the sect. 35 million silver notes. At this moment, Chu Zhetian raised his voice and called out. You should know that the price had just been raised to 25 million the previous second. He, in one go, raised the price by 10 million. Swish, swish, swish. This bid immediately caused many people to cast suspicious glances. Buzz. At the same time, Chu Zhetian directly released an immensely powerful fluctuation of spiritual energy from his body. Hiss. A realm of nascent soul level 3 powerhouse? Such a young nascent soul? Maybe he only looks young, and his actual age is unknown? This nascent soul senior wants this cauldron? For a time, the sound of discussion arose. Chu Zhetian smiled slightly. I am Chu Zhetian of the Tai Xu Sect. I am very interested in this cauldron. He simply released his aura of the nascent soul level 3. Smiling, he said. That's right, Chu Zhetian's cultivation also hadn't slowed down during this period. He had evidently advanced from a newly advanced nascent soul to the nascent soul level 3. It was just that as his level increased, even the devouring saint physique combined with the supreme Tao scripture, the speed of advancement wouldn't be as exaggerated as it had been at the lower levels. Unless he obtained some heaven-defying opportunities, it wasn't possible to advance a level a day, or even several levels a day. During these days, he had advanced a total of 2 levels. And at this moment, hearing Chu Zhetian's words and sensing his strength at the nascent soul level, those who had been interested in the 9 revolutions pure cauldron in their hearts, one after another, suppressed their thoughts. Chu Zhetian had already raised the price by 10 million at one time, and he obviously was determined to have this cauldron. To continue to raise the price, one might offend the other party. Offending a nascent soul grade expert was not a wise thing to do. Tai Xu Sect, Chu Zhetian? He's the one from the Tai Xu Sect? I've also heard. The Tai Xu Sect produced a monster who broke through to the nascent soul realm before the age of 30. Forget it. Offending a nascent soul of such a young age is not a good thing. This 9 revolutions pure cauldron, 30 million or so, is about right. Forget it. For a time, everyone gave up bidding one after another. Chu Zhetian. It's Chu Zhetian. Over there, after hearing Chu Zhetian's voice, Su Ruoyan's entire body shook violently. Her entire person was no longer calm. All sorts of complex negative emotions surged into her heart one after another. Damn it, you dog of a man. You also want this cauldron. Father, bid for it, and don't give it to Chu Zhetian, this bastard. Su Ruoyan gritted her teeth and said. However, Su Hongtu took a deep breath and said in a stern tone, Don't be ridiculous. Ruoyan, don't let hatred cloud your mind. Our goal today is those 2 drops of flood dragon essence blood. If you spend all our money on this cauldron, You don't want to see the light again? Hearing this, Su Ruoyan immediately fell silent. Gritting her teeth, she didn't say a word. And in the front row, Zhang Qingsong and Prefect Xiao Qingchang exchanged a glance. The latter also shook his head. He also didn't plan to compete with Chu Zhetian for this cauldron. Xiao Qingchang's goal was the demon core of the ginseng spirit. He couldn't spend tens of millions to bid on something outside his plan just to help Zhang Qingsong annoy Chu Zhetian. And Zhang Qingsong himself wouldn't step forward and go against Chu Zhetian. After a long time of no one bidding, the deputy officer on the stage gave Chu Zhetian a meaningful look, and then finalized the bid. Congratulations to friend Chu Zhetian from seat 66 for winning the 9 Revolutions Pure Cauldron. He said congratulations, but the deputy officer's tone wasn't very good. However, Chu Zhetian didn't care about that, and upon hearing that he had obtained the treasure, a smile immediately appeared on his face. Hey, you did that on purpose to intimidate others, to prevent them from competing with you, right? At this moment, Imo Qingfei asked Chu Zhetian in a somewhat speechless tone. The latter nodded as a matter of course. Yes, what's wrong? Imo Qingfei rolled her eyes and gave Chu Zhetian a thumbs up. You are something else. Imo Zhan, who was beside him, complimented him. Senior Chu's methods are indeed powerful. Chu Zhetian smiled, neither affirming nor denying it. Having lived 2 lifetimes, he wasn't a gentleman, nor was he a rigid and flexible fellow. On the path of cultivation, one competes with another, and all methods are used. He had long since seen through everything. Prefect Qiao only said not to use force, and didn't say that he wasn't allowed to display his strength to scare others. As long as he could get what he wanted, Chu Zhetian didn't care about temperament or style. I'm just scaring you. So what? Whoever dares to compete with me will offend me. As for whether I will retaliate afterwards, weigh it yourselves. Father, you're really shameless. At this moment, Huohua, who was by his side, spoke without restraint. Poof. As the words fell, Imo Qingfei couldn't help but burst out laughing. Imo Zhan, who was beside him, also tried to hold back. But Chu Zhetian chuckled and didn't reprimand his son, but instead stroked Huohua's head and said, Huohua, remember, as long as you can become stronger, as long as it's something beneficial to yourself, you don't need this thing called face. If you encounter any opportunities in the future, don't let face get in the way and regret it for the rest of your life. Oh, in the future, I must be as shameless as you, father. Huohua nodded his head, as if he understood. You don't necessarily have to be the same as father. Being even more shameless than father is also okay. Chu Zhetian nodded, encouraging him. Chapter 145, Greedy and Naive. Listening to the conversation between Chu Zhetian and Huohua, Imo Qingfei, who was next to them, couldn't help but have a line of black lines across her forehead. Looking at Huohua's eyes was even more strange. If one didn't say anything, who would have thought that this little lowly was actually a great demon of the void-severing realm? And the most embarrassing thing was how Chu Zhetian taught this great demon. One couldn't imagine what would become of Huohua in the future, raised in Chu Zhetian's education. In the future, maybe one day, there will be a terrifying great demon of the land immortal, or even the Mahayana, or even the Tribulation level. If coupled with Chu Zhetian's education of shamelessness and lack of principles, that would be how terrifying and despairing to the enemy? Thinking like this, Imo Qingfei couldn't help but shiver. In her heart, she prayed even more that Chu Zhetian wouldn't really be the cattle in nirvana. Otherwise, if she gained such an enemy, she probably wouldn't be able to sleep at night in the future. At this moment, the matter was settled. The 9 Revolutions Pure Cauldron was already decided and had become Chu Zhetian's possession. This caused the corners of his mouth to lift, revealing an expression of satisfaction. And then, the auction continued. It's just that the next few auction items, although considered good things, were obviously not as good as the opening cauldron. For these, although Chu Zhetian himself wasn't very interested, he still spent some silver notes and bid for a few weapons and magic treasures for his senior brothers and sisters. After looking through that auction manual from Imo Qingfei, Chu Zhetian had already made a plan in his heart. Originally, he had wanted to try his luck and see if there would be any golden Yangyin water. Only this thing could be used to smelt the Taiyin demon gold, and after some refinement, turn the black, huge coffin into an immortal-grade divine weapon. However, there was no such thing announced in the auction booklet. So Chu Zhetian could only give up. He would see later, and see if he could go to the Great Song Martial Academy and try to request a portion. Next, what will be auctioned are truly good things. It has the effect of bringing the dead back to life and regenerating flesh and bone. They are 2 drops of essence blood, taken from a flood dragon great demon whose body refinement had reached the level of myriad transformations. After taking them, not only can one be reborn and have their physical body directly reach the legendary level of the body refinement of myriad transformations, and there is also the effect of regenerating severed limbs. Because there are 2 drops, so everyone can bid separately, or you can buy them together. It depends on everyone's bidding. Each drop starts at 20 million silver notes, or 2 million spirit stones. Begin. The temporary auctioneer on the stage said in a high-pitched voice. In front of him, there were 2 transparent, glass bottles on display. Inside were the 2 drops of crimson essence blood. Even through the glass bottles, one could seem to feel the strong vitality contained within. Even the 2 drops of essence blood seemed to have detached themselves from the Earth's gravity and were floating in the bottles by themselves. It looked crystal clear, translucent, and extremely mystical. Who? As the voice fell, Su Hongtu, who was sitting in the corner, his breathing immediately became rough. Su Ruoyan's face also revealed a look of excitement and anticipation. Father, it's here. The flood dragon essence blood has finally appeared. Quickly bid. Su Ruoyan urged. Don't rush. We want both drops. It's best to wait until others have bid enough, and then we'll make the decisive bid. Su Hongtu signaled Su Ruoyan to remain calm. After hearing the price of this flood dragon essence blood, he inwardly clicked his tongue. 20 million silver notes for a single drop? You should know that. He only had 20 million silver notes in his hand in total. However, he also had 10 million spirit stones. This thing was equivalent to 100 million silver notes. As long as they didn't mess around, they should be able to win it. Flood dragon essence blood. This is a good thing. But the price is so expensive. My goal today is mainly the demon core of the ginseng spirit. Forget it. Chu Zhetian sighed. Imo Qingfei shook her head. And Chu Zhetian wasn't that interested in this flood dragon essence blood. To refine the body to the myriad transformations realm? He was already at the body refinement shattering peaks realm. This naturally held no attraction for him. However, this drop of flood dragon essence blood was of great use to one person. It was Yu Zhaolu's sister, Yu Xiaoxia. The other party was tormented by her former husband Zhong Wanhai to the point that her limbs were completely disabled. Even her tongue was cut off. If there was such a drop of flood dragon essence blood, which could restore her to her original condition, it would definitely make Yu Zhaolu extremely gratified. If he could please this beautiful teacher, now it should be called his confidant, Chu Zhetian would naturally not mind paying some price. Because he knew clearly, Yu Zhaolu and her sister's feelings were very, very deep. Let's see, isn't Zhong Yingshu here? He should be bidding on a drop for his mother. We can decide if we can't get it. Chu Zhetian thought inwardly. However, in the next moment, his gaze couldn't help but look in one direction. There were the Su father and daughter. Chu Zhetian knew that they would also likely make a bid. Heh, you want to see the light again? It's not that easy. I want to drop 2,500,000 spirit stones. At this moment, someone started bidding. It was Luo Muan, the vice sect master of the Luo Shui sect. This woman seemed determined to have this item, and as soon as she came up, she directly increased the price by 500,000 spirit stones. I want both drops. 5 million spirit stones. At this time, the elder of the Black Phoenix Gate also bid. 3 million, 1 drop for me. 3,300,000 spirit stones. I want 1 drop. At this moment, the young master of the Skyblade Gate Zhong Yingshu also loudly shouted, 4 million spirit stones. Heske. The price of these 2 drops of flood dragon essence blood continued to rise. However, Everyone was testing the water with their bids. No one was directly taking the decisive approach like Chu Zhetian at the moment. 10 million spirit stones. I want both drops. At this moment, a loud, high-pitched female voice resounded throughout the venue. Everyone's expressions were startled and immediately looked in the direction of the voice. The bidder was Su Hongtu's concubine, Madame Yang. Under Su Hongtu's instructions, she directly increased the price for each drop to 5 million spirit stones. She wanted to shock the entire scene in one fell swoop. Chu Zhetian also looked over. His eyes immediately narrowed slightly. 5,200,000. I only want one drop. After a moment of silence at the scene, Zhong Yingshu bid again. To raise the price directly to 10 million spirit stones, and wanting to have both drops? Too greedy and too naive. 5,500,000. I want one too. The female vice sect master of the Luoxue sect also gritted her teeth and continued to shout. Seeing this scene, the faces of Su Hongtu and Su Ruoyan immediately turned white. Damn it! The former gritted his teeth and cursed, with an expression of regret on his face. He had only 10 million spirit stones in total, plus 20 million silver notes. In other words, it was equivalent to 12 million spirit stones. It seemed that it was impossible to win both drops. Thinking like this, Su Hongtu tilted his head slightly in the direction of his daughter, Su Ruoyan. For a moment, his mind raced. If they could only bid for one drop. Chapter 146, Black Market Dealings. On the other side, within the Great Song Martial Academy branch of Qinglu County, inside a cloud-shrouded cave. Yesterday, the newly emerged from seclusion, Chu Zhetian, and his colleague, another void-severing level, elder of the academy, Jiang Kaishan, were jointly receiving an unexpected guest. The person was wearing a black robe, with a crescent moon pattern on his chest. The moon hung in the night sky, and it made people feel peaceful when they saw it. However, on the clothes of the person, there was a strange aura emanating from it. If it isn't, it's the Demon Hall's Gu Xiezong. You dare to come to our Great Song Martial Academy? Aren't you afraid that the two of us will execute you on the spot? Qin Zhujian stared at the person and coldly mocked in a neutral tone. The other party was a high-level person of the evil sect level of the Demon Hall. The Demon Hall was similar to some evil cults. Its positions, from low to high, were evil disciple, evil scholar, evil master, all the way to the true high level, evil sect, evil venerated, and finally the hall master, demon. It was divided into more than a dozen or 20 levels in total, with an incredibly strict hierarchy within the organization. And the person in front of him was evidently a void-severing level existence, but was only an evil sect of the third level. From this, it could be seen that the Demon Hall was indeed a powerful organization that covered the 3 provinces. Gu Xietu, or rather, this Gu Xiezong, heard these words and instead smiled complacently. Even if I'm no match for the two of you working together, it's probably not easy for the two of you to kill me. Moreover, I think it's not that necessary. Although my Demon Hall takes a different path, during the peak period of the Great Song Dynasty, we never thought of overthrowing the world, and the respective Song emperors never thought of exterminating our Demon Hall. Now, the world is in chaos, and my Demon Hall hasn't taken advantage of the chaos to rise up, and the dynasty doesn't need to target the people of our Demon Hall either, right? The dynasty turns a blind eye to us. The two of you don't need to fight with me to the death, right? Now that I can sit here and talk to you, doesn't it show the attitude of the two of you? Gu Xietu's voice didn't have any evil taste, but instead carried a hint of magnetism. He spoke to the 2 elders of the academy with ease. Qin Zhujian smiled faintly, neither affirming nor denying. Then, Gu Xiezong, what are you here to see us for? Gu Xietu pondered for several seconds, and then softly uttered 2 words, steal. Steal? Qin Zhujian and Jiang Kaishan were both stunned at the same time. That's right. Isn't Xiao Tianrui hosting some immortal spirit auction today? Among them, there are indeed several treasures, especially the seeds of the heavenly illusory flower, which are the divine objects that can help people comprehend several kinds of heavenly Tao principles. So I have decided to rob him of a batch, Gu Xietu said with a smile. Swish. As the words fell, Qin Zhujian and Jiang Kaishan's faces changed at the same time. Bang! Jiang Kaishan slapped the stone table in front of him and said sternly, Gu Xietu, you, in front of us, say that you want to rob a prefect of the great Song dynasty? Don't you put us in your eyes? Qin Zhujian also narrowed his eyes slightly. Gu Xietu laughed loudly, and then said word for word, 7 seeds of the heavenly illusory flower. I'll give each of you 2. How about that? As soon as these words came out, Jiang Kaishan and Qin Zhujian, who had been intimidating, immediately lost their momentum. At this moment, Gu Xietu smiled and said, I know that the 2 elders of the academy are actually not on good terms with Prefect Xiao, right? The good things he has seized, according to regulations, should have been handed over to the Great Song Treasure House. In other words, the good things he brought out for auction today should have actually been distributed by the 2 elders. But Xiao Tianrui is arrogant and self-important, and relying on his strength as a void-severing level 6 expert, he never put the branch of the Great Song Treasure House here in Qinglu County in his eyes. Nor did he put the 2 of you in his eyes. Today, I rob him of a batch. Isn't that helping the 2 of you vent your anger, right? These words made the expressions of Qin Zhujian and Jiang Kaishan fluctuate uncertainly. Finally, Qin Zhujian coldly said, Then you rob him. Why do you need to tell us in advance? Because I don't dare to not put the 2 of you in my eyes. I should naturally greet you. I only hope that the 2 of you won't take action to help Xiao Tianrui at that time. Friend Qin, haven't you just emerged from seclusion? The 2 of you might as well continue to seclude yourselves. How about that? After I succeed, I will present a total of 4 flower seeds. Gu Xietu narrowed his eyes slightly and probed. It could be seen that at this moment, Qin Zhujian and Jiang Kaishan exchanged glances. They had already been moved in their hearts. After exchanging a glance, Qin Zhujian chuckled lightly. Seclusion is not necessary. Your robbing of Xiao Tianrui is unrelated to us. Since he doesn't want to hand those things over to the Great Song Treasure House, then they're his private belongings. If private property is robbed, the Yamen should come forward. We, the 2 elders, have our own duties to perform. How could we interfere in such matters? Even if we stand by, watching, in front of Xiao Tianrui, what can he do? Jiang Kaishan also nodded. That's right. Even if he reports it to the state, or even the imperial city, it's useless. Oh, that's best. Gu Xietu raised an eyebrow. However, but at this moment, Qin Zhujian changed his tone. However, what? Elder Qin, if you have any conditions, just propose them. Gu Xietu asked in a slow voice. You can't expect us to not help Xiao Tianrui, but you also have to help me with one thing. Qin Zhujian said in a deep voice. What thing? Gu Xietu's eyes narrowed. He seemed afraid that Qin Zhujian would propose some excessive requirements. Help us deal with a great demon at the void-severing level. Qin Zhujian said in a deep voice. There were some things that Zhang Wenwu and Zhang Qingsong might not know, but as the elders of the Great Song Martial Academy, Qin Zhujian relied on the Great Song Dynasty's intelligence network and was well informed about certain matters. Qin Zhujian already knew about the matter of his newly accepted disciple Zhang Wenwu's family yesterday. Faced with the request of his disciple, plus the reward of 100 million silver notes and a large amount of spirit stones, Qin Zhujian had already agreed. He decided to help his disciple avenge this murder. However, after he investigated Chu Zhetian, he also learned that the other party had subdued a great demon at the void-severing level in Dongqing City. Chu Zhetian, this nascent soul child, Qin Zhujian didn't put him in his eyes. But that great demon, even with his and Jiang Kaishan's combined efforts, they didn't have absolute certainty. After all, demon cultivators of the same level, the actual fighting power often surpassed human cultivators. 2 against 1 might not be able to win, but if Gu Xietu was added, then it was almost certain. In that case, perhaps they could subdue that great demon and make it their spirit pet. For a moment, Qin Zhujian's calculations were really on point. Chapter 147. Not enough money? I'll lend you. Inside the auction hall, the price of a single drop of Flood Dragon Essence blood had already been raised to 7 million spirit stones. 10 million spirit stones. At this moment, Zhong Yingshu gritted his teeth and directly added 3 million. With that, the entire venue immediately fell silent. Chu Zhetian glanced at Zhong Yingshu, and a look of admiration appeared on his face. It could be seen that this child, in order to allow his mother to recover, was determined to obtain a single drop of Flood Dragon Essence blood, and was willing to pay any price. And the other people who had been bidding also fell silent at this moment. 10 million spirit stones had already exceeded the psychological tolerance of the vast majority of people. This massive amount of spirit stones was enough to cultivate many ordinary people to break through to the innate realm. It was enough for a golden core expert to cultivate for many years. Moreover, it could also be exchanged for various precious treasures in their respective sects, organizations, forces, or the Great Song Martial Academy, and so on. Using it to buy a drop of Flood Dragon Essence blood was obviously somewhat uneconomical. Unless it was themselves or a close relative who urgently needed it, generally, no one would be willing to spend such a large price. 10 million spirit stones. Damn it! Has this kid from the Skyblade Gate gone mad? Su Hongtu's heart was trembling. Father, what should we do? At this price, we can only bid for one drop. By then, Su Ruoyan spoke with hidden meanings. Don't worry, father won't mistreat you. Su Hongtu's voice paused for a moment and said in a comforting tone. However, these words were ambiguous. Wouldn't mistreat? He didn't say that he would let his daughter use it if he bid for a drop of essence blood. However, Su Ruoyan clearly misinterpreted Su Hongtu's words. She just thought that if he bid for a drop, he would give it to her. She only felt that at this moment, her father was radiating the light of a myriad fathoms of fatherly love. Thank you, father. Then, shall we continue to bid? Su Ruoyan nodded and asked anxiously. It seems that this price has already made it impossible for others to accept it. So we also won't bid first. After this one is sold, we'll use the same price to buy the other drop. Su Hongtu shook his head and rationally analyzed. He had a total of, at most, the equivalent of 12 million spirit stones. It was definitely impossible to buy 2 drops. Therefore, he could only retreat for a moment. Of course, it would be best if he could bid for it with the lowest price possible. Therefore, at this moment, he must not continue to raise the price. 10 million spirit stones, once. 10 million spirit stones, twice. 10 million spirit stones, 3 times. Okay, congratulations to friend Zhong, from the Skyblade Gate, from seat 28, for winning a drop of Flood Dragon Essence blood. Now, there is still one drop, everyone. You may continue. The auctioneer on the stage said in a loud voice. At this moment, Zhong Yingshu let out a big sigh of relief, and a look of joy appeared on his face. With this drop of Flood Dragon Essence blood, his mother, Xianxia, could recover to normal. Every day, seeing his mother with her limbs disabled and her tongue cut off and not being able to speak, his heart felt like it was being pricked by needles. And for his biological father, Zhong Wanhai, whom he had killed with his own hands, he didn't feel the slightest remorse. Even seeing his mother like this, he felt that cutting off his head with a single knife was too cheap for him. And as the auctioneer's voice fell, 2 voices sounded at the same time. 10 million, I'll buy it. 10 million, this drop is mine. It could be seen that the ones who bid at the same time were none other than Su Hongtu's concubine, Madame Yang, and Luo Muan, the female vice sect master of the Luo sect. In the next second, the expressions of both sides changed. They didn't seem to have expected that someone would have the same idea as them. Damn it! There's actually someone else who wants to take it for 10 million. Su Hongtu gritted his teeth and said, "What a cheap bitch. She even wants to compete with us." Su Ruoyan was even more anxious, and she cursed. Add 50,000. Su Hongtu took a deep breath and said painfully, 10,050,000 spirit stones. Madame Yang helped to shout, 11 million spirit stones. The female vice sect master of the Luo sect also gritted her teeth and reported another price. Obviously, she had already become somewhat conservative. 12 million spirit stones. I am determined to have this drop. You have also seen my condition. Come, even if you raise it to 20 million, I will still follow. At this moment, Su Hongtu stood up suddenly and personally shouted out the highest price he could accept. Saying that, he also pointed at his eyes in the direction of the vice sect master Luo. He looked as if he was going to bid frantically. In fact, 12 million was already the limit he could come up with. However, this momentum was indeed very intimidating. When the vice sect master Luo saw Su Hongtu's blind eyes, her expression immediately became uncertain. In the next second, she shook her head somewhat reluctantly. She finally decided to give up bidding. First, she saw Su Hongtu's blind eyes and felt that he would definitely compete with her at all costs. Second, the funds in her hand had actually already bottomed out. Otherwise, she would say that she must help her most beloved disciple and strive for it again. Every time she thought of her most proud female disciple, because she helped her to pick spiritual herbs and was eaten by a demon beast, she felt a pang of guilt and sorrow in her heart. Xiao Qi, master's ability is truly limited. Luo Muan sighed. And at this moment, in the entire auction hall, for a long time, no one bid again. Auctioneer, what are you waiting for? Since no one has made an offer, is this drop mine? Su Hongtu waited a few seconds and then urged in a hurried tone. That's right. Don't count down yet. What are you waiting for? 12 million spirit stones. The price is already too high. Su Ruoyan couldn't help but shout. 12 million spirit stones. Once. On the stage, the auctioneer finally began to speak. And at this moment, Chu Zhetian looked in the direction of the Su father and daughter, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. You two are in such a hurry? How could I let you get your wish? Otherwise, my punishment for you, wouldn't it be meaningless? Thinking back to the previous life, their insidious and vicious faces when he was crossing the tribulation. Thinking about this life, their aggressive actions, and even their desire to put himself and Yueyue to death, Chu Zhetian's heart was filled with killing intent. If it wasn't for the sake of the second elder, he would have torn them to pieces long ago. Now, you still want to see the light again? Dream on. Vice Sect Master Luo, this drop of Flood Dragon Essence blood is also important to you, right? If you want it, I can lend you 2 million spirit stones. Therefore, Chu Zhetian directly shouted in the direction of Luo Muan. Wow! As the words fell, the scene was in an uproar. And Luo Muan, who had already been preparing to give up, her eyes brightened immediately upon hearing this. Really? She asked uncertainly. I am, after all, the Tai Xu Sect's elder, a nascent soul expert. My words naturally count. Take it. Chu Zhetian nodded and answered affirmatively. Saying that, he even threw a spatial pouch towards Luo Muan. Inside were exactly 2 million spirit stones. Swish. It could be seen that at this moment, the expressions of Su Hongtu and Su Ruoyan changed instantly. Chapter 148. You consider her your confidant? It could be seen that on the stage, the auctioneer paused his countdown when he saw this scene. His gaze turned to Luo Muan. 13 million spirit stones. The latter gritted her teeth, and after getting the spatial pouch, she directly shouted. Chu Zhetian smiled with satisfaction. The 2 million spirit stones he lent to the other party were actually not the part that Zhang Qingsong had compensated to him. Rather, they came from when he killed the deputy sect master Jiang Fengyi of the Mo Feather sect. Moreover, he had obtained a large amount of loot through robbery, including various spirit stones, pills, talismans, and other resources. Added up, since Chu Zhetian's rebirth, he had never had a moment to relax. He killed the 3 great shamans of the Dark Knight Palace, killed Mo Laodao, Mo Qingchen and others in the name of Nirvana, killed Mo Qingzhou, the 12 Mo Feather Guards and Mo Xiong in the Golden Cicada Secret Realm. He also killed at the Skyblade Gate. Later, he killed the 5 elders Mo Yueyue, Jiang Fengyi, and a group of ordinary high-level experts of the Mo Feather sect. Recently, before this, he eliminated Dark Knight Evil Ancestor, Great Shaman Yemo, and 5 great demon generals in Dongqing City. Killing so many people was not in vain. Besides absorbing their flesh and blood essence to improve his physical body, he also got a large amount of spoils of war. For these spoils of war, he intended to contribute them to the treasure pavilion of the Tai Xu Sect, besides giving them to his true people. It was just that he hadn't had time in these days, so he hadn't made any arrangements. But it was undeniable that Chu Zhetian was extremely rich now. The 100 million silver notes that Zhang Qingsong had compensated him were actually just a part of the wealth he possessed. If they were all added up, he would have more than 200 million silver notes, plus more than 20 million spirit stones. This was also his confidence that he could bid for the treasures he wanted today. And in order to target the Su father and daughter, to take out 2 million spirit stones to lend to Luo Muan was nothing to him. 13 million spirit stones? Is there anyone who will bid a higher price? At this moment, the auctioneer on the stage said in a high-pitched voice. Hearing this, Su Hongtu and Su Ruoyan were no longer calm. Don't these auctions have any rules? They even allow lending money temporarily? Impossible. Invalid. I have already bid 12 million. Mine is the highest price. Su Hongtu angrily shouted. Su Ruoyan was even more anxious and squealed. That's right. Auctioneer on the stage. Are you being paid for nothing? You actually tacitly approved of this kind of illegal operation? What a terrible auction. That drop of flood dragon essence blood is ours. Ours. Faced with the protests of the two, everyone present looked at the father and daughter with a strange look. On the stage, the Qinglang Army deputy commander, who was temporarily acting as the auctioneer, even snorted coldly. Presumptuous. Prefect Chao made it very clear before about the rules of the auction. There's no rule that says that you are not allowed to lend money to others. The two of you have money, continue to bid, and if you don't have money, then sit there and shut your mouths. If you dare to clamor again, don't blame me for being rude to you. Hearing these words, the expression on Su Hongtu's face was extremely uncertain. Finally, a silence of unwillingness. And Su Ruoyan completely broke down. In her opinion, after bidding for this drop of flood dragon essence blood, she could grow a pair of eyes again. The feeling of hope vanishing, of being on the verge of ascension, and then falling into hell, made her go crazy. Chu Zhetian, you dog. Why? Why didn't you bid yourself, but you had to lend money to others to bid? You're so cruel. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to kill you. Saying that, Su Ruoyan, relying on her voice, was going to rush in Chu Zhetian's direction. Presumptuous. Take her down. Upon seeing this, the deputy commander on the stage immediately shouted coldly. As the words fell, swish swish several figures rushed out from various directions in the auction hall. In order to ensure order at the auction, these few were all Qinglang army generals, the strongest of the strong. Their strength had actually all reached above the golden core realm. Handling the vast majority of situations was more than enough. Of course, if they encountered even more difficult changes, Xiao Yueyue would also personally take action. And obviously, a character like Su Ruoyan wasn't worthy of disturbing Prefect Chao. Peng. Su Ruoyan was directly knocked away. After landing, she spat out a mouthful of reverse blood. Like a dead dog, she collapsed there. And Su Hongtu, Madame Yang, and Yin Chao, who were traveling with her, were also directly taken down and then forcibly thrown out. Chu Zhetian, I hate you. I will not let you go even if I become a ghost. Chu Zhetian, why? Why are you doing this to me? You are so cruel. It could be seen that even though she was seriously injured and dragged out, Su Ruoyan still made a series of hateful and unwilling curses. Listening to these curses, Chu Zhetian, on the other hand, smiled. He didn't know why, but he felt very good in his heart. It was a kind of the pleasure of revenge. Hey, why are you doing this? What is this woman to you? It sounds like you're a man who's been wronged. At this moment, Imo Qingfei, with her beautiful eyes glancing over, not knowing what kind of psychology asked Chu Zhetian in a tone of casual talk. Chu Zhetian took a deep breath, adjusted his state of mind, and felt that there was nothing to hide. In the past, there was a young man. He came from a humble background, but was exceptionally talented. He was valued by an old man, and under the mediation of the sect master and him, this young man married the great-granddaughter of this old man. The young man was devoted to his wife, and could even be said to be subservient and obedient. In order to help her cultivate, he poured spiritual energy into her day and night, but he delayed his own cultivation. In 5 years, he only broke through from the acquired realm to the innate realm. But what he got in return was being disliked, disgusted, and even having an affair. He gave birth to a son, and that son was not the young man's. Later, this young man thoroughly woke up, and then he became extremely heartless. After listening, Imo Qingfei's expression changed in various ways. I'm sorry. How could she, with her beauty and intelligence, not know that the young man Chu Zhetian was talking about was himself? For a moment, she looked at this man with her beautiful eyes, and in the depths of her eyes, a hint of sympathy and strangeness flashed. This guy had been hurt before, but what was exchanged for affection was betrayal. The most important thing was that he was willing to tell her such a heartbreaking past. It's nothing. It's all in the past. Chu Zhetian shook his head lightly. It's all in the past. You will definitely meet a good person again. Imo Qingfei nodded and subconsciously comforted him. However, after she finished speaking, she bit her lip, and a faint blush flashed across her pretty face. I wasn't talking about myself. That's right. I have now met a confidant. Chu Zhetian nodded and said with a smile. In his mind, the image of Yu Zhaolu couldn't help but appear. Her unruliness, her wantonness, her style, her dignity, her charm. Most importantly, that sincerity and her care for Yueyue, all made Chu Zhetian's heart turn over and over. Ah, really? You have already considered her your confidant? Imo Qingfei's beautiful eyes flashed a moment of panic when she heard this. Chapter 149. The Joy of Finding a Bargain. That's right. Chu Zhetian uttered these 2 words with a hint of embarrassment. Yu Zhaolu should have been his master, but in the end, cough, cough. And Imo Qingfei didn't say anything more and nodded, silent there. However, her pair of beautiful eyes, the expression changed strangely. In her heart, she didn't know what she was thinking about. Chu Zhetian's words just now could easily be misunderstood. Especially the words already met made Imo Qingfei unable to help but wonder where her thoughts had wandered to. At this time, as Zhong Yingxiu and Luo Muin each successfully bid on the drop of Flood Dragon Essence Blood, the auction continued. And Luo Muin looked in Chu Zhetian's direction and gave him a grateful nod to show her thanks. The next item comes from the same great demon as the previous 2 drops of Flood Dragon Essence Blood. It is 2 portions of Flood Dragon Essence Marrow. The high-pitched voice of the auctioneer once again rang out. Lifting the red cloth, the bottle in front of him this time held a mass of milky white substance. Just like the Flood Dragon Essence Blood, it was also in 2 portions. It looked crystal clear, like a small cloud that had fallen into the mortal world. It was precisely a mass of marrow from within a great demon's body, about the size of an infant's fist. These 2 portions of Flood Dragon Essence Marrow have a more terrifying effect than the previous Essence Blood. However, as the Essence Marrow from within a body of a myriad transformations realm great demon, it is not something that ordinary cultivators can withstand. You must have reached the body refinement realm of Golden Body or above to be able to consume this Essence Marrow. Otherwise, your body will explode and you will die. And after consuming it, it will allow a body refinement cultivator to break through 2 body refinement realms consecutively and reach the earth-shaking realm. Many friends present might not be too familiar with the body refinement realm, so I'll briefly introduce it. Next, this auctioneer introduced the body refinement realms, as well as some common knowledge about body refinement practitioners. In order to be able to auction off this Flood Dragon Essence Marrow, and gain more revenue from today's auction. This auctioneer was also quite hardworking. Finally, he concluded, in short, even if your physical body hasn't reached the golden body realm, you can keep it for later use, or use it for other purposes. So, the starting price for each portion of Flood Dragon Essence Marrow is provisionally set at 50 million silver notes, or 5 million spirit stones. Each bid increase must not be less than 100,000 spirit stones. Begin. As the auctioneer's voice fell, the scene went silent for a time. There was no other reason. This item was good, but it was not something that ordinary people could use. Who in the body refinement realm could reach the golden body realm? Moreover, everyone was following the path of chi cultivation, and no one would put in the effort in the future to try body refinement. How difficult body refinement was, and how rare body refinement practitioners were, everyone could see. Buy it back and eat it to self-destruct? Moreover, the price was also ridiculous. The starting price was 5 million spirit stones. Father, I want to eat it. At this moment, Huahua, who was sitting next to Chu Zhetian, pulled on Chu Zhetian's sleeve and communicated through the mind. Her large eyes were filled with desire. Although Huahua was only in the juvenile phase of the Ice-Fire Dragon Sparrow, her realm had reached the void-severing level. And as a demon race, her physical body was innately extremely powerful and had great potential for growth. After 100 years of natural development, her physical body had already reached the golden body realm. Therefore, she could completely consume this Flood Dragon Essence Marrow. Wait a moment, don't be anxious. Maybe we can find a bargain. Chu Zhetian nodded and signaled the little thing to remain calm. Without Huahua saying it, he was also determined to get this Flood Dragon Essence Marrow. He already reached the Golden Body Realm and also the Shattering Peaks Realm. Okay. To consume such a portion of Flood Dragon Essence Marrow, his physical body could jump 2 realms, directly reaching the Earth-Shaking Realm from the Golden Body Realm. So what about his Shattering Peaks Realm? Chu Zhetian was very much looking forward to it. At this moment, the scene was still in a state of coldness. The auctioneer called out the price once again, asking if anyone would bid. His eyes and eyebrows showed a hint of anxiety. Could it be that this Flood Dragon Essence Marrow was going to be withdrawn from the auction? 5 million spirit stones, and both portions of Flood Dragon Essence Marrow, for me. Seeing that it was almost time, Chu Zhetian lazily raised his hand and called out, this? The auctioneer on the stage, for a moment, was somewhat hesitant and troubled. The original price was 5 million for one portion. Now, Chu Zhetian wanted to take both portions away for this price, but compared to the item being withdrawn, since this little friend is interested in this item, then I'll give it to you for 5 million spirit stones. Consider it a good connection, but after buying it back, you must use it with caution. If your physical body hasn't reached the golden body realm, you will really die. At this moment, a deep and generous voice suddenly rang out. Looking in the direction of the voice, it was Qinglu County's prefect Xiao Yueyue who appeared at this time. And seeing the coldness of the scene and the hesitation of the auction, he was the one who made the final decision at the critical moment. Then thank you, Your Excellency the Prefect. Chu Zhetian smiled and cupped his hands towards the other party. It was considered that he was accepting the other party's favor. He really found a bargain for 5 million spirit stones for those 2 portions of Flood Dragon Essence Marrow. One word, awesome. Huahua's eyes were shining, and it seemed that she couldn't wait to swallow this Flood Dragon Essence Marrow right now. However, all the good things that were bid for had to wait until the auction was over and the transaction was completed uniformly. No matter how anxious the little thing was, it could only wait first. Up to now, 2 things that Chu Zhetian was determined to have had already been acquired. They were the 9 Revolutions Pure Cauldron and these 2 portions of Flood Dragon Essence Marrow. In addition, what he was most concerned about was still the seeds of the heavenly illusory flower. Having lived 2 lifetimes, and having already reached the tribulation stage in his previous life, he naturally knew a lot about many divine objects. These seeds of the heavenly illusory flower were proper good things. like the Tao Enlightening Spirit fruit, after consuming it, only increased a cultivator's spiritual awareness when they were in the vastness of the Tao. But the seeds of the heavenly illusory flower were different. They could create a heavenly illusory realm. This illusory realm was equivalent to a separate, small world. The physical body could not enter, but the spiritual consciousness could roam within. A cultivator's spiritual consciousness within this illusory realm could greatly improve its sensitivity to the heavenly Tao principles of this small world. In other words, it could make the heavenly Tao principles clearer and more concrete. Comprehending it would naturally be twice the result with half the effort. Although in his previous life, Chu Zhetian had already comprehended the way of the sword and the complete way of the 5 elements. But the power of Tao principles, the more you master, the more powerful you become. And when merging with the Tao, the more heavenly Tao principles were integrated, the more powerful the merged Tao principles that were newly created would be. However, the seeds of the heavenly illusory flower did have a drawback. That was, they could only be used once. The second time, no matter what, the spiritual consciousness could never enter the heavenly illusory realm again. And just as Chu Zhetian was calculating in his heart, and only the seeds of the heavenly illusory flower remained, the auctioneer on the stage, Xiao Yueyue, did not go down this time. Instead, he began to personally host the next auction. Speak of the devil. The item that he could personally host was precisely those 7 seeds. Chapter 150. Good things are not meant to be sold. Swish. As Xiao Yueyue waved his hand, from within his spatial magic treasure, a gourd, he directly tossed out a jade bottle. Next, from within the jade bottle, he poured out 7 objects that were crystal clear and brilliant. They were suspended in midair, emitting a 9-colored light, and seemed to encompass all the colors of the world. Strands of strange fluctuations spread out even more, indicating that within the 7 seeds contained strands of heavenly Tao essence that could transform into heavenly Tao principles. Seeing these 7 seeds of the heavenly illusory flower, the eyes of many people present glowed, especially the experts above the golden core realm, who felt that they still had hope of entering the nascent soul realm in this life. Their eyes were even more fiery. Humph! The demon core of the ginseng spirit hasn't come out yet, and you're auctioning these seeds of the heavenly illusory flower first? At this moment, Prefect Xiao Chengchang snorted and said somewhat disapprovingly. His goal was mainly the demon core of the heavenly spiritual object. He had originally planned to take the demon core by force and then try to see if he could strive for other things. But now, he didn't dare to take action lightly. Although Zhang Qingsong was right next to him, he couldn't squeeze the other party in a bottomless pit and repeatedly make the other party bleed. It used to be fine, but now, after all, his eldest son's backer was Qin Zhujian, Qin Elder of the Academy. Having him help bid for the demon core was about it. And Mo Qingfei and Mo Zhan at this time also exchanged a glance. These seeds of the heavenly illusory flower, if we give them to Great Ancestor, it will definitely help him comprehend the heavenly Tao principles. Mo Qingfei said. Mo Zhan also nodded, and the other 2 Great Ancestors, although they are at the nascent soul realm, haven't yet comprehended the Tao principles. Today, it's best to strive for 3 seeds. And at this moment, the blood pupil of Chu Zhetian's forehead jumped again. His eyes were sharp, and he divided a wisp of his will into the burial god blood domain. As soon as he came in, the voice of the slaughtering world god immediately rang out in this blood-red world. Boy, you must get 1 seed, no matter what. When the time comes, I'll give you a surprise. Chu Zhetian heard this and said in response, Yes, senior. I was already planning to bid for a few. At this moment, only to hear the auctioneer on the stage, Xiao Yueyue, whose voice was ringing throughout the venue. What these 7 seeds are, I believe you have all read the introductions in the auction booklet. Such a precious divine object, if I didn't urgently need spirit stones and money, I wouldn't take them out for auction. The starting price is 100 million silver notes for each seed, or 10 million spirit stones. Bid 1 seed at a time. Each bid increase must not be less than 1 million spirit stones. Come on. In fact, there were 8 seeds of the heavenly illusory flower. Xiao Yueyue used one himself, allowing him to master another heavenly Tao principle at the void-severing realm, the way of the Gui water. This way was the advanced Tao principle of the 5 elements water. It was more powerful, and after using one seed, Xiao Yueyue couldn't use it a second time. Added to the fact that he urgently needed to go to the Great Song treasure house in the Imperial City to exchange for a treasure that could help him merge with the Tao, and needed an astronomical number of spirit stones and money. Therefore, he was willing to take the other 7 seeds out for auction. Wow! As the words fell, the scene was in an uproar. The price of these seeds of the heavenly illusory flower was truly astonishing. However, there were still people scrambling for them. 11 million spirit stones. The Black Phoenix Gate will take this first seed. The elder of the Black Phoenix Gate took the lead in bidding. 12 million spirit stones. You Black Phoenix Gate, step aside. Imogen directly raised his hand again. 14 million. 15 million. For a time, the sound of bidding rose and fell in succession. Ha ha ha. It's really lively. Prefect Xiao, you didn't hand over the treasures you seized during the pacification of the rebellion to the Great Song treasure house, but instead auctioned them off privately, don't you? Fear that the authorities will question you? And just as everyone was competing fiercely, a voice of great size rang out. The voice came from all directions, making it impossible to grasp. Next were 3 figures who slowly walked into the auction hall. Leading the way were none other than the 2 elders of the Academy of the Great Song Martial Academy of Qinglu County, Chu Zhetian and Jiang Kaishan. Behind the 2 was also Zhang Wenwu. As soon as the 2 elders of the Academy appeared, their eyes all looked at Xiao Yueyue on the stage, and at the 7 seeds of the heavenly illusory flower in front of him. Their eyes all showed a hint of greed. As for Zhang Wenwu's gaze, it swept across the entire scene. Finally, it landed on Chu Zhetian's body, revealing a killing intent that was completely undisguised. Swish! It could be seen that at this moment, Xiao Yueyue reached out his hand and took the 7 seeds of the heavenly illusory flower back into the jade bottle. Then, a cold smile appeared on his face. I was wondering who it was. It turns out it's Elder Qin and Elder Jiang. Why are you 2 here to question me? I'm sorry. The treasures that I use for the auction are all obtained during my private training, and not the spoils of war seized while leading the Qinglang army to pacify the rebellion for the dynasty. Therefore, I can naturally allocate them at will. Whether I give them away, auction them off, or throw them away, it has nothing to do with others. I have no obligation to hand them over to the Great Song treasure house. Is that so? Whether it was obtained privately, or was the spoils of war from the pacification of the rebellion, I'm afraid only you know. Jiang Kaishan said in a mocking tone. I wonder what the 2 of you are here for? If you also want to take out real silver and bid, Xiao welcomes you. But if you want to cause trouble, I will also accompany you. Xiao Yueyue's face darkened, and he kindly reminded the 2 elders of the academy. It's nothing. We just came to have a look. Qin Zhujian said in a neutral tone. Saying that, he casually walked in the direction of the first row. The position was originally occupied by the elder of the Black Phoenix Gate and his companions. Seeing this, they had to quickly give way. This was a void-severing existence, not to mention him, an elder. Even if the 4 ancestors of the Black Phoenix Gate came, they had to bow their heads and yield. Humph! Continue the auction. Seeing Qin Zhujian and Jiang Kaishan take their seats, Xiao Yueyue snorted coldly. 18 million spirit stones. Next, someone bid again. However, a wave of unrest followed by another wave. Swish! Swish! At this moment, a change occurred. It could be seen that 2 attacks transformed into moonlight appeared without warning. They split into 2 directions and slashed towards Xiao Yueyue on the stage. The fluctuations contained in the attacks were terrifying to the extreme. Even Chu Zhetian, this nascent soul expert, felt a chill in his heart. Void-severing experts. Xiao Tianrui on the stage, his face immediately changed. Buzz. Next, a wave of ripples, like water, surged from around his body and directly withstood these two attacks. However, the terrifying residual force directly turned the auction stage into dust. The deputy officer beside him exploded into a mass of blood mist instantly. At this moment, a voice that sounded extremely gentle, but contained an evil aura, rang out softly. Prefect Xiao, good things are always meant to be stolen, not meant to be sold. Chapter 151. A Loss. The sudden turn of events caused everyone's faces to change dramatically. Especially after feeling the power of the two attacks, everyone's hearts shuddered. It's a Void Realm expert. A Void Realm master is here. Run. Get out of here. A battle between Void Realm experts. A single ripple could kill us. Hula. In an instant, the vast majority of those present scattered like birds and beasts. Besides Chu Zhetian, the strongest present were only Golden Core Realm cultivators. Facing the battle of Void Realm experts, they didn't even dare to watch. No one would risk their own lives. Even those who had bid and had already won items were now fleeing the scene. They hadn't paid the silver notes and spirit stones yet. Running wouldn't be a loss. If Governor Qiao could resolve the crisis, they could return to trade later. Their lives were more important. The wind was blowing. Time to leave. Chu Zhetian, are we leaving? Imo Qingfei asked with a slightly tense expression. You all go, I'll see how it goes. Chu Zhetian shook his head, truly reluctant to leave the treasures he had bid on today. He knew that if Xiao Tianrui were really robbed, those items would be taken away directly by the robbers and would never have anything to do with him. Then, let's stay a little further away and watch. Imo Qingfei looked at the fire spirit beast beside Chu Zhetian, and knowing that the other party had a Void Realm Great Demon by his side, he was not too worried. All right. Chu Zhetian nodded. Then, together with Imo Qingfei and Imo Zhan, they took fire and retreated 1,000 meters away. They arrived at a mound outside the military camp. Besides them, most people had already moved away. Only a small minority still dared to stay and watch from a distance. Among them were Xiao Chengchong, the prefect of Qinglu County, and Zhang Qingsong, Zhang Wenwu, and others. As for Qin Zhijian and Jiang Kaishan, the protectors of Datsong Martial Academy, they hadn't moved their nest at all. They sat on the auction stage like old gods, watching the situation unfold calmly. At this moment, Chu Zhetian felt two gazes cast toward him. They were Zhang Wenwu, the eldest of the Zhang family, staring at him. Seeing that Chu Zhetian hadn't fled directly, but was watching from a distance, the other party's expression seemed to relax. And this subtle feeling was captured keenly by Chu Zhetian. He doesn't want me to leave? And his eyes carry a hint of resentment and ill will. Could it be? Chu Zhetian's mind moved, and his thoughts flashed. Then, he looked at Qin Zhijian and Jiang Kaishan in the arena, showing a thoughtful expression. Whoosh! At this moment, two figures had already appeared on the auction stage, which had been converted from the training ground. They were arranged on the left and right, surrounding Xiao Tianrui. One held a blood-red sword that seemed to be stained with blood. His figure was slender, his face as white as jade, and he looked like a refined gentleman. However, his eyes flashed with a touch of evil. It was the evil sect of the demon god palace, Gu Shuetu. That is, the one who had previously secretly talked with Qin Zhijian. The other person was short. He held a mountain-splitting saber, and a string of human hand bones hung from his chest as a necklace. A strong aura of evil rushed towards them. This person was the other evil sect of the demon god palace, who called himself Demon Saber, a fierce man. Seeing Demon Saber, Qin Zhijian and Jiang Kaishan looked at each other, and a trace of surprise appeared in their eyes. No wonder Gu Shuetu, a Void Realm 4th layer, dares to rob Xiao Tianrui, a Void Realm 6th layer, of his treasures. So it's not just him. Qin Zhijian said lightly. Hee, this time there will be a good show. Jiang Kaishan also had a playful look on his face. At this moment, Xiao Tianrui coldly looked at Gu Shuetu and Demon Saber, and sneered, "Who is it?" It turns out to be the demons and ghosts of the demon god palace. "What? You two want to snatch something from my hands?" Gu Xuetu smiled. "The seed of heaven and earth in Governor Chao's hands. Since it's no longer useful to you, why not give it to us? We will remember this favor." "That's right. Ha ha ha. Governor Chao should still take the initiative to give us the things, so that you will gain 2 close friends. Otherwise, today, you will have 2 more enemies. Maybe, you'll even lose your life." Demon Saber said with an evil smile. "Dream on. Just the 2 of you. Want to take my things? The seed of heaven and earth and other treasures are right here. If you want them, come and get them yourselves." Chao Tianrui sneered disdainfully. "All right. Then we won't be polite." Gu Xuetu knew that the other party wouldn't compromise obediently, so he didn't waste any more words. Buzz. In the next instant, the powerful aura of the Void Realm 4th layer suddenly emanated from him, and Demon Saber released an even more terrifying fluctuation belonging to the Void Realm 5th layer. These 2 evil sects of the Demon God Palace, one was at the Void Realm 4th layer, the other at the 5th layer, facing Chao Tianrui, who was at the 6th layer. Their momentum even surpassed the other party. Chao Tianrui's expression also revealed a trace of seriousness. Whoosh! At this moment, Demon Saber had already made a bold move, slashing a saber towards Chao Tianrui. Gu Xuetu's blood-red sword also rolled towards him like a poisonous snake. With a sword, it seemed that a scene of bloody wind and rain could appear. Well done. Chao Tianrui was not to be outdone, holding a golden spear, and met them. Clang, clang, clang. For a time, the sound of weapons colliding was endless. The terrifying power fluctuations turned the entire auction stage into ruins. The ground had cracks and pits like after an earthquake. Even Chu Zhetian and Jiang Kaishan, facing such a fierce battle of the same level, had to temporarily move away to watch from a distance. In the distance, Imo Qingfei, who saw this Void Realm battle, had a look of shock and yearning on her face. Is this what a Void Realm expert is? I feel like every move of theirs seems to carry the power of the laws of heaven and earth. If I were affected by this level of attack, I'm afraid I would be smashed to pieces in one exchange. Imo Qingfei took a deep breath and said. Chu Zhetian's expression, on the other hand, was calm. In his previous life, he had experienced countless battles of life and death at the Tribulation crossing level. A Void Realm battle couldn't stir up any waves in him. However, Imo Qingfei was right about one thing. After reaching the Void Realm and with the continuous strengthening of the nascent soul, it was entirely possible for Void Realm experts to use the power of the laws of heaven and earth for a long time. Unlike when at the nascent soul realm, the power of the laws of heaven and earth could only be used as a trump card. Therefore, from this point, one could see the difference between the nascent soul and the Void Realm. Governor Chao is going to be at a disadvantage. At this moment, Chu Zhetian suddenly spoke lightly. And in the next second, sure enough, Chao Tianrui, facing the Tu's siege, finally made a mistake and was hit by Gu Xuetu's sword. Blood splattered from his abdomen. Chapter 152. Don't help the wrong person. Seeing that Chao Tianrui seemed to be defending as if it were solid armor one moment, and was actually injured the next, Imo Qingfei was immediately surprised and glanced at Chu Zhetian. Generally speaking, only those with higher realms watching the battle of those with lower realms would be able to see the situation of the battle at a glance. But Chu Zhetian, facing the battle of the Void Realm, was also so sharp-eyed. For a time, Imo Qingfei, who had been regarded as a genius since childhood, only felt that she was just a nominal genius. Chu Zhetian was the real genius. Born from a weak sect like Tai Xu Sect, he could step into the nascent soul realm at the age of 20-something. Even his battle experience was so extraordinary. At this moment, after Chao Tianrui was injured, the situation became even more critical. After that, in less than 20 moves, he was stabbed in the back again by Demon Saber. Although he had majestic spiritual energy protecting his body, and he also had various defensive and protective magic treasures, the terrifying force still penetrated into his body, causing him no small amount of damage. Attacks of the same realm, how could an alchemist survive easily? apart from those powerful body cultivators. Governor Xiao, if this continues, you might fall here today. Why not hand over the treasures in your hands? Gu Shuetu said with a smile. Gu evil sect, why bother talking to him? Kill him, and the treasures on him will naturally all be ours. Seeing Chao Tianrui showing a declining trend, the killing intent in Demon Saber's eyes surged. Before the fight, if Chao Tianrui compromised, there might be some room for discussion. But now, since the other party had already started to be injured, it didn't seem to be difficult to kill the other party. Compared to that, naturally, it was more cost-effective to take the other party's life. Hearing this, Gu Shuetu looked at his companion with some speechlessness. This demon saber was fierce, but his brain was one-track-minded. Do you think I still want to persuade Chao Tianrui? Do you think I still want to spare the other party's life? I just said that to weaken the other party's fighting spirit. That way, it might be easier to kill him. Otherwise, once the other party was a cornered beast, and he really fought for his life in desperation, we might also suffer casualties. You're good. One sentence directly forced the other party to a state of do or die. What a fool. Gu Shuetu cursed in his heart, and his hand movements could only become more spiritual. Demon Saber also laughed wildly, constantly attacking fiercely. Chao Tianrui wielded the golden spear in his hand, fending off attacks, and urgently shouted to Chu Zhetian and the others, who were watching not far away. Protector Qin, Protector Jiang, have you watched enough? The demons of the Demon God Palace are coming to invade. Why don't you two quickly join forces with me to take them down? He was really unable to fight anymore, so he had to ask the two for help. In his opinion, although he was usually at odds with the other party, after all, they were colleagues working for the imperial court. Although the two had been watching all along, as long as he opened his mouth and asked for help, it would be considered as showing weakness and begging to the other party. Then Qin Zhujian and Jiang Kaishan would naturally follow the steps and help him. It would be nothing more than being mocked by the two for a few sentences. However, in the face of his request, Qin Zhujian laughed a few times, and his tone was sarcastic. What's wrong, Governor Xiao? You remember us now? Unfortunately, we have no obligation to help you. You said it yourself, the treasures in your hands are your personal belongings, and now being robbed is your personal affair. Jiang Kaishan's tone also carried a touch of schadenfreude. We are the protectors of the Datsong Martial Academy, and have no responsibility to protect other people's private property. Why don't we do this? We will report to the authorities and ask the constables to come and help you. Hearing these words, Chao Tianrui immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His face showed anger, and then a self-deprecating smile. Ha ha ha, well said. This matter, Chao will remember. If I don't die today, I will repay the kindness of you two today. Qin Zhujian snorted coldly. If you can't die, then talk about it. At this moment, on the mound 1,000 meters away, Chu Zhetian narrowed his eyes and looked at the situation in the arena. Chao Tianrui had previously given him a good price for the 2 portions of the dragon python essence, and he owed the other party a favor. And the most important thing was, once the other party was really finished, then the 9 revolutions unblemished furnace, the dragon python essence, and even the seed of heaven and earth would be snatched away by the 2 evil sects of the Demon God Palace. It would no longer have anything to do with him. Thinking about it, Chu Zhetian felt a burst of unwillingness and anxiety in his heart. With the 9 revolutions unblemished furnace, he could completely refine immortal-grade pills in the future as long as he had enough materials. The Dragon Python essence could even allow him and Fire's physical realm to at least break through to the Tremor Earth realm. As for the seed of heaven and earth, it was a divine object that could allow him to comprehend one, or even multiple laws of heaven and earth. No. So many opportunities, it would be a pity to miss them. If my strength is really so low that I can't influence the situation, then so be it. But I have a Void Realm Great Demon by my side. Chu Zhetian gritted his teeth. His eyes stared at Gu Shuetu and Demon Saber, flashing with a touch of coldness. And perhaps this is the will of heaven. Demon God Palace? It seems that I am destined to confront them. Thinking like this, Chu Zhetian touched Fire's head. Fire, go. Help them. Fire answered with an "oh," and then subconsciously asked, should I also go over and besiege that guy and steal his good things? Air. Chu Zhetian was speechless when he heard it. All right. This little thing was learning fast, and it had already started to be a little shameless. Not to help those two people, but to help Governor Xiao. Don't you want to eat the dragon python essence? If it is snatched by those two people, you won't be able to eat it. Hearing these words, Fire's expression suddenly became anxious. On her little face, she showed an angry look. I understand. It's those two guys who want to steal the treasures that belong to Fire. Fire will go and tear them apart. This little thing seemed to hate it the most when others stole its things. Hearing this, it was immediately filled with righteous indignation. Whoosh! Fire turned into an afterimage and charged towards the battlefield of Xiao Yueyue and the three of them. At this moment, as the battle continued, Xiao Yueyue seemed to have become a spent force. Gu Xuetu and Demon Saber's swords and sabers were both greeting him. Facing the simultaneous attacks of two experts of the same realm, Xiao Yueyue felt as if he was in a desperate situation. Buzz. His body surface, once again, showed black waves of ripples like water. Among them, it actually contained the power of the water law. At the same time, his spear met Demon Saber's saber. To avoid the greater danger by the lesser, unable to defend against the two at the same time, he chose to withstand the attack of Gu Xuetu, who was at a slightly lower realm, while directly blocking Demon Saber's saber. Whoosh! However, at this moment, a fireball suddenly, carrying the power of destruction, rapidly bombarded this side. Boom! At the moment of collision, the sword light of Gu Xuetu immediately dissipated. Chapter 153. Killing several birds with one stone. Boom! The terrifying energy fluctuations, carrying the power of the true fire law, directly annihilated Gu Xuetu's attack. Even the aftershocks directly impacted the three Void Realm experts, causing them to retreat. What was that, Fire? A Void Realm 7th layer Great Demon. Under the same realm, the combat power of demon species was originally superior to human cultivators. What's more, Fire was still the best among demon species. Bearing the bloodlines of the Azure Dragon and the Vermilion Bird, two great divine beasts. Although it was only a juvenile, its innate inherited the wood and fire laws of the Azure Dragon and the Vermilion Bird. And it was the top-level advanced laws among wood and fire, the true wood and true fire laws. The true fire law contained in this fireball even surpassed the advanced law, Kuei water, comprehended by Xiao Yueyue. Even the aftershocks caused considerable impact on the three Void Realm experts, resulting in the violent surging of their blood. After the aftershocks subsided, Xiao Yueyue, Gu Xuetu, and Demon Saber all looked in one direction with solemn expressions. In the air, a petite figure was suspended. Cute, but giving a sense of cleverness and playfulness. Hey, my dad told me to come help you beat them. How are you going to thank me? Fire asked Xiao Yueyue at this moment. This little thing wasn't stupid, and was also very smart. In addition to Chu Zhetian's shameless enlightenment education, it started to try to get its own benefits. Your dad? Is that little friend Chu Zhetian? Xiao Yueyue's expression shook when he heard this. The powerful memory and observation ability of a Void Realm expert made him instantly remember that this little boy had been sitting beside Chu Zhetian before. Thus, he instantly reacted, and then, he said with extreme joy, "All right, if you can help me today, I am willing to give you 2 seeds of heaven and earth." Hee, you said it. Fire's eyes lit up immediately when he heard this. After saying that, he immediately turned around and charged towards Demon Saber, who was the closest. You're not a demon. Why do you call yourself Demon Saber? Watch me roast you. The little thing shouted while waving its little hand at Demon Saber. A phoenix fire shadow immediately crashed towards the other party. Damn it! Evil beast, don't be arrogant. Demon Saber cursed in anger, but he didn't dare to be negligent at all. Facing Fire's attack, his Void Realm 5th layer strength was fully unleashed, barely able to resist. On the other side, Xiao Yueyue, who was able to catch his breath, directly swallowed a handful of top-grade pills to stabilize his injuries. After that, He took the initiative to launch an attack towards Gu Shuetu. In a one-on-one situation, he, a Void Realm 6th layer, even if he was injured, would he be afraid of a Void Realm 4th layer? Humph! Gu Shuetu bit his teeth and looked at fire, but he had to deal with Governor Chao with all his attention. He knew fire. Chu Zhetian had told him before that the one called Chu Zhetian had a Void Realm Great Demon by his side, and they were going to settle Xiao Tianruwei. Then the 4 Void Realm experts, together, would besiege and even subdue this great demon. But he didn't expect that Chu Zhetian would be so meddlesome. At this moment, to let this great demon help Xiao Tianruwei, this was obviously beyond their expectations. Otherwise, with their 2-on-1 situation, they were about to solve Xiao Tianruwei. For a time, Gu Shuetu developed a touch of hatred towards Chu Zhetian. He only felt that this nascent soul thief had ruined his good deeds. Boom, boom, boom. The 4 Void Realm experts were fighting one-on-one. After fire joined, the originally terrifying battlefield seemed even more lively. For a time, this camp of the Azure Dragon Army in Qinglong Camp had become ruins. Those brave and battle-hardened Azure Dragon soldiers had to retreat quickly. It wasn't that they were greedy for life and afraid of death, but before this auction, the officers at all levels had already obtained Governor Chao's instructions. Once an uncontrollable danger occurred, they would retreat immediately without making unnecessary sacrifices. Whoosh, whoosh. Chu Zhetian and Jiang Kaishan, seeing that the 4 Void Realm experts were killing frightfully, also had to move away again. In the next second, Chu Zhetian's eyes narrowed slightly. This Chu Zhetian should not know that I will be making trouble for my disciple today. Otherwise, how dare he let his own Void Realm spirit beast come into this muddy water? Hee, is this trying to make friends with Xiao Tianruwei? I will let you understand how stupid your decision is. Chu Zhetian sneered. In the next second, he stopped watching the battle and charged directly towards the mound where Chu Zhetian was located. This great protector of Datsong Martial Academy had always been scheming. In his opinion, fighting with experts of the same realm was dangerous. In comparison, it would be so easy and pleasant to kill Chu Zhetian first. At that time, it would definitely be killing several birds with one stone. First, the things on Chu Zhetian's body would naturally become his spoils of war. A nascent soul genius, who was not even 30 years old, might have some opportunities on him. At the very least, he could also easily receive the over 100 million silver notes and a large amount of spirit stones that Zhang Qingsong compensated him. Second, once Chu Zhetian, the master, was killed, then the Void Realm Great Demon would probably no longer help Xiao Tianruwei and would directly leave the battlefield. After all, under normal circumstances, spirit beasts followed human cultivators, and it was through some kind of enslavement method. Spirit beasts often harbored resentment towards their masters. They were only driven by human cultivators because of the backlash of the contract. Although Chu Zhetian did not know how Chu Zhetian of the nascent soul realm had enslaved this Void Realm Great Demon, but as long as the master died, the Great Demon should no longer follow the master's commands and continue to help Xiao Tianruwei. And without the Void Realm Great Demon's help, it was almost a sure thing that Xiao Tianruwei would fall. As long as Gu Shuetu and Demon Saber succeeded, they would naturally benefit as well. So, thinking this way, killing Chu Zhetian first was both easy and pleasant, and with a great income. I will also go and see how old Qin handles the nascent soul junior. Jiang Kaishan saw this, and followed closely behind. If Qin Zhetian killed other old generation nascent soul experts, he might be too lazy to watch. But eliminating a monster that was not even 30 years old was still worth seeing the process. On the other side, Xiao Chenchong, Zhang Qingsong, and Zhang Wenwu, seeing the direction Qin Zhetian was moving from afar, all guessed what was going on. Haha, Master wants to stand up for us and deal with the dog thief Chu Zhetian. Zhang Wenwu was excited. Zhang Qingsong also showed a smile. Good. Your second brother's revenge can finally be avenged. Xiao Chenchong, the prefect, also showed a playful look on his face. He had previously helped the Zhang family to discuss Chu Zhetian, and he took 1/3 of the compensation tax from the other party. The prefect knew that he would definitely be hated by Chu Zhetian. It was just that he had Datsang dynasty behind him, and he didn't worry much that the other party would retaliate. Of course, if someone was willing to kill Chu Zhetian, it could be considered to make him completely at ease. Thinking this way, he smiled slightly. Since there's a good show, we might as well go and watch. Chapter 154. If you have the guts, break it open for me. Over here. The instant Chu Zhetian charged towards him, Chu Zhetian sensed that he was locked onto by a powerful energy. Whoosh! Without hesitation, he turned and fled in the opposite direction at high speed. Chu Zhetian? You! Imo Qingfei, who was with him, was startled by Chu Zhetian's sudden reaction. Don't follow. Chu Zhetian didn't have time to explain much. He only left that one sentence. At this moment, his speed was not much slower than Qin Zhujian and Jiang Kaishan. His physical strength, at the shattered peak realm, allowed him to burst forth, leaping more than 300 meters. That speed was like a humanoid beast. This kid's reaction is quite quick. Qin Zhujian locked onto Chu Zhetian and immediately saw that the other party had already fled. The speed is not bad either. He should be good at this, or use some kind of secret technique. Jiang Kaishan also gave an evaluation. Let's see how long he can keep this up. The two didn't know that Chu Zhetian's speed was based on his physical strength. They thought the other party had used some kind of trump card to escape. So, it couldn't last too long. With their Void Realm strength, they couldn't catch a nascent soul expert. Whoosh! Whoosh! In an instant, one was running and two were chasing. Besides the three, there were two more. They followed at a slightly slower pace. It was Prefect Xiao with Zhang Wenwu. As for Zhang Qingsong, because his strength was too low, he was a bit of a burden and wasn't brought along. This richest man in Qinglu County was just waiting for his eldest son and the prefect to bring him the good news of Chu Zhetian's death. And at this moment, Imo Qingfei also reacted. What's going on? Are Prefect Qin and Prefect Jiang chasing and killing Chu Zhetian? Imo Zhan nodded. It seems so. Imo Qingfei's expression changed, and she also thought of the reason in a moment. Perhaps it's because of the Zhang family's second young master. She had also heard that Zhang Wenwu, the eldest son of the Zhang family, had been taken as a closed-door disciple by Prefect Qin. Was Prefect Qin going to help the Zhang family out of consideration for his disciple? That was very possible. Otherwise, Chu Zhetian and Prefect Qin shouldn't have any other grudges. Thinking like this, Imo Qingfei also wanted to follow, hoping to be able to mediate and let Prefect Qin spare Chu Zhetian's life for the sake of the Tai Xu Sect. However, at this moment, Imo Zhan grabbed her. Qingfei, what are you going to do? Imo Qingfei bit her lip. I want to. You want to help Chu Zhetian? Absolutely not. Prefect Qin and Prefect Jiang are Void Realm experts. They certainly won't give you face. If you go rashly and are accidentally affected by their attacks, you will die on the spot. Imo Zhan's face was solemn. But Imo Qingfei still wanted to say something, but was held firmly by Imo Zhan's arm. There are no buts. You are a genius that our sect hasn't seen in 1,000 years. I will never let you take risks. Otherwise, I will become a sinner of the sect. Besides, what can you do if you go? Maybe you will drag Chu Zhetian down. Imo Zhan persuaded earnestly. Uncle, rest assured, I know what I'm doing. I will watch and persuade from afar, and will not get close to stop them. If I can persuade them, it will be best to persuade the two prefects. Even if I can't, I will protect myself, and the two prefects can't possibly attack me. Chu Zhetian has shown me kindness. I can't just stand by and do nothing. Imo Qingfei shook her head and said stubbornly. Whoosh! In the next second, she directly chased in the direction where Chu Zhetian and the others had left. Although her speed was much slower than theirs, she seemed to be determined. Imo Zhan saw this, gritted his teeth, and followed. Chu Zhetian fled at high speed and looked back. He saw that Qin Zhujian and Jiang Kaishan's speed was slightly faster than his. The distance between them was slowly closing. Two Void Realm experts chasing me? They really give me face. I don't know. Why are the two prefects chasing me? Chu Zhetian curled his lips and shouted. You should know what it's because of. You ran amok and killed people in the Zhang residence, ignoring the laws of the Datsang dynasty. As a prefect, I should take you down to correct the laws of the imperial court. Chu Zhetian, if you are sensible, stop and accept punishment. Perhaps you can still save your life. Otherwise, when we catch up with you, don't blame us for being ruthless. Chu Zhetian said righteously. Ha ha ha, then wait until you catch up with me. Chu Zhetian laughed out loud a few times, being chased by two Void Realm experts, but still able to talk and laugh. Humph. Chu Zhetian snorted coldly and stopped talking nonsense, increasing his speed again by a few points. The killing intent in his eyes towards Chu Zhetian was full of substance, and at this moment, Chu Zhetian was secretly thinking in his heart, should he summon fire to help him? With his current strength, facing the two Void Realm experts, he would certainly be crushed. But after some consideration, Chu Zhetian decided to deal with it himself for a while. Judging by this posture, it would take at least 15 minutes for the two to catch up to him. And during this time, if fire could join hands with Xiao Yueyue to deal with the two evil sects of the Demon God Palace, it wouldn't be too late to come over and support him. If I summon fire back now, Xiao Yueyue is afraid of being in trouble. Everything would be in vain. In any case, I have some means to hold them back for a moment. It shouldn't be a problem. Almost 15 minutes later, Chu Zhetian looked back, his expression slightly stiffened. Finally, after escaping for so long, Chu Zhetian and the two finally got close to a relatively dangerous distance. Now, the distance between each other was only 100 meters. He would soon enter their attack range. Little thief, you can't escape. Aren't you going to surrender? Chu Zhetian's eyes flashed with a touch of anger. They, the two, were Void Realm experts. They had been chasing a nascent soul junior for so long. It was simply infuriating. So much nonsense. Even if you catch up with me, you might not be able to beat me. Even if you can beat me, you might not be able to kill me. Chu Zhetian curled his lips and already had a plan. Still talking trash. Jiang Kaishan was also a little angry and scolded. When we catch up with you, can we still not beat this slippery little thief? Whoosh. At this moment, Chu Zhetian suddenly stopped, and beside him, there was suddenly a huge black coffin. Since it was taken into the burial god blood domain, this black coffin was like a magic weapon of Chu Zhetian and could be controlled by him at will. Then, he moved his mind. The lid of the coffin rumbled open. Chu Zhetian didn't hesitate and directly jumped into it, and then closed the coffin tightly. Although I have a jade bone and a golden body, and the divine ability Immortal Golden Bell, but I might not be able to withstand a Void Realm expert. But this coffin is made of Tine Demon Gold. A Void Realm expert cannot destroy it. I'll just hide inside. If you have the guts, break it open for me. Haha. Chapter 155. Being Recognized. The sudden appearance of this black coffin, and the scene of Chu Zhetian jumping directly into it, immediately stunned Chu Zhetian and Jiang Kaishan. What's the routine? He got a coffin and jumped inside himself? He knew he was going to die, so he prepared for the afterlife in advance? Humph. I've seen someone hiding in a coffin being chased and killed for the first time. Chu Zhetian snorted coldly. 100 meters was in an instant. Clang. After getting there, it was a sword that directly slashed on the black coffin. The terrifying power of a Void Realm expert's strike caused the black coffin, weighing tens of thousands of kilograms, to roll out. But the whole thing was safe and sound. Not even a trace was left on the surface, let alone being broken by a sword. Such a sturdy coffin. I can't break it? So this Chu Zhetian actually used it as a turtle shell, a haven? Humph. Chu Zhetian ground his teeth and felt that this little thief was even more slippery. If you can't break it, then lift it open, Jiang Kaishan suggested. With that, he tried to push open the lid of the coffin with his hands. However, no matter how hard he tried, the lid was still tightly sealed. Can't push it open? Chu Zhetian pondered for a moment and guessed. This coffin should be this kid's magic weapon. He controls it after closing it. Unless we destroy this magic weapon, or kill him, the master of this magic weapon. Otherwise, it should not be opened. It seems we still need to find a way to destroy this coffin. If one attack doesn't break it, then continue. I don't believe It can't be broken. Jiang Kaishan didn't believe in evil. Chu Zhetian nodded. After that, the two Void Realm experts started to launch attacks on the black coffin. For a time, the sound of knives and swords colliding with the coffin and terrifying energy fluctuations appeared. Chu Zhetian, hiding in the black coffin, could feel himself and the coffin being knocked flying and rolling from time to time. The feeling of spinning around didn't bring him any discomfort. Instead, it aroused his playfulness. Hee fun. This Tian demon gold is worthy of being a rare metal that can create immortal weapons. It is a pipe dream for Void Realm experts to destroy it. Even if you two are exhausted today, I'll be safe and sound. Chu Zhetian's mentality even carried a touch of leisure. A material that can create immortal weapons, would it be easily destroyed? It was absolutely safe inside this black coffin. Thus, he could stay inside with peace of mind. Wait for Fire to join hands with Xiao Yueyue to solve the two Void Realm experts of the Demon God Palace, and come over to help him later. By then, the crisis would be resolved. Thinking like this, Chu Zhetian communicated with Fire with his mind and asked, Fire, how's it going? Dad, I'm having a great time fighting. I feel like the two Void Realm guys opposite can't hold on any longer. Hee. Did you see how powerful I am? Fire was in the middle of a heated battle and didn't notice that his dad had something going on. But in the next second, relying on his mental communication, he suddenly sensed that Chu Zhetian's location was already hundreds of miles away from him. Dad, why did you run so far? Chu Zhetian couldn't help but sweat. This little thing. Only now did he find out that your dad had run far away? Got chased. Chu Zhetian replied angrily. What? Who chased you? Dad, are you okay? I'll go over and help you. Fire asked anxiously. No need. After helping Xiao Yueyue completely solve the crisis, come over to help me. Your dad, I'm very safe right now. You must make sure Xiao Yueyue doesn't die. Otherwise, we won't get the dragon python essence and other good things. Chu Zhetian instructed. Don't worry, Dad. Now, it's not about whether Xiao Yueyue dies or not, but about whether those two guys opposite die or not. Fire said very arrogantly. Boom. At this moment, Demon Saber jumped out of a huge pit again. The area around this pit was completely charred. It was the scene where Fire's fireball had smashed it. Demon Saber's half-body was also charred. Puff, after spitting out a mouthful of blood, it evaporated in mid-air. It could be seen how serious the fire poison was in his body. Shuetu, it's not feasible. Let's go. If we don't leave, you and I will be left here today. Demon Saber shouted to Gu Shuetu over there. And he didn't have to wait for the other party to respond. He chopped at Fire with all his strength to slightly hold him back, and then turned and ran. Over there, Gu Shuetu was also poked with 3 blood holes by Xiao Yueyue. In a one-on-one situation, how could he, who was at the Void Realm 4th layer, be a match for Xiao Yueyue, who was at the 6th layer? This governor, with Fire's help, only felt that he was so proud of himself. The golden spear in his hand was wielded with force. Unlike before, it was so aggrieved. Governor Xiao, consider yourself lucky. We'll meet again. Seeing Demon Saber escape, how could Gu Shuetu dare to stay? Once Fire changed targets and joined forces with Xiao Yueyue to deal with him, he was afraid he would really fall here. Then, with a trace of unwillingness, he also turned and ran. At this moment, Fire, looking at Demon Saber and Gu Shuetu, who chose to escape, hesitated for a moment and didn't chase. After all, his dad, Chu, seemed to have some trouble. Although Chu Zhetian said that he was fine, Fire was still a little worried. Compared to chasing and killing others, it was naturally his dad's life that was more important. Clang! Chu Zhetian struck again, slashing on the black coffin. The latter was still safe and sound. At this moment, the other two figures rushed over in a hurry. They were Xiao Qinchang and Zhang Wenwu. Prefects, where's that Chu Zhetian? The former looked around. Zhang Wenwu was also puzzled. Master, why are you attacking a coffin? Chu Zhetian snorted coldly. Because that little thief is hiding in this coffin. Hearing this, Xiao Chunchong and Zhang Wenwu showed surprise. Next, Zhang Wenwu snorted coldly, kicked the coffin hard and shouted, "Chu Zhetian, weren't you very arrogant at the Zhang residence? Now, hiding in a coffin, are you a shrinking turtle?" Clang. With that, he also drew his treasure sword and slashed hard on the black coffin. Chu Zhetian, hiding inside, could also hear the movement outside. Hearing this, he immediately curled his lips. Want to use the method of provocation to lure himself out? It was too naive. He, who had lived 2 lives, wasn't some greenhorn. Being humiliated and provoked by the enemy a few times, just to prove that he wasn't a shrinking turtle and foolishly jump out to be killed by the enemy. Wasn't that stupid? I'll just hide inside and listen to how you are frustrated. One word, happy. I just like the way you can't stand me, but you can't do anything about me. 2 Void Realm experts chased and killed me, but you couldn't kill me. Are you angry? And at this moment, what Chu Zhetian didn't know was that thousands of meters away from here, 2 figures also hurried over, following Xiao Chunchong and the others. Who could it be, if not Imo Qingfei and Imo Zhan? When Imo Qingfei saw the black coffin in the distance, she was immediately shocked. Her whole person, as if struck by lightning. How could she not recognize this black coffin that had originally existed in the Golden Cicada Secret Realm? Chapter 156, the Grand Finale. Here, after fire arrived, seeing the others attacking Chu Zhetian, he directly killed Prefect Xiao and Zhang Wenwu. Then, he fought Qin Zhujian and Jiang Kaishan, 1 against 2. Chao Tianrui, who had followed, didn't help Qin Zhujian and Jiang Kaishan. He maintained a bystander's attitude. Just as the fight reached a stalemate, Su Beiwang, the 2nd Grand Elder who had been missing for a long time, arrived. Unexpectedly, the 2nd Grand Elder had become a Void Realm expert. He joined hands with fire, and combined with Chu Zhetian's previous life's methods, they killed Qin Zhujian. However, Jiang Kaishan escaped. Because he killed Qin Zhujian and Prefect Xiao, Chu Zhetian had to fight against the Datsong dynasty ahead of schedule. Chao Tianrui, the governor, also had grievances against the Datsong dynasty and was going to overturn the heavens as well. So, they joined hands with Chu Zhetian. In Qinglu County, a wave of bloody winds and storms swept through, eliminating the Datsong dynasty's forces, integrating the Mayu Sect, Tiandao Sect, and Luo Shui Sect, destroying the Black Phoenix Gate, and establishing their own, the Heavens Alliance. During this period, Imo Qingfei learned that Chu Zhetian was the reincarnation and was torn between the hatred of the Guardian Elder. Although her feelings for Chu Zhetian were not hateful, and even she had a good feeling for him, she couldn't let go of this hatred. So, after the Mayu sect surrendered to Chu Zhetian, she left the sect. As for Su Hongtu, Su Ruoyan, father and daughter, they were taken back by the people of the Demon God Palace because of that immense resentment. Later, they also brought Chu Kongqing and Zhang Beichen to the Demon God Palace. The secret that Chao Tianrui had kept a secret was a celestial palace. This celestial palace could not even be broken by a tribulation crossing expert. So, it became the base of their forces. Later, Chu Zhetian learned from the 2nd Grand Elder that the latter had accidentally entered another secret realm in the Golden Rainbow Mountains. Compared to it, the Golden Rainbow secret realm was just a small copy on the periphery. And this secret realm was called the Great Jin Ruins. It contained incredibly terrifying and heaven-defying opportunities, including almost all the treasures that the former Great Jin dynasty had collected. The 2nd Grand Elder, Su Beiwang, broke through to the void realm within it. He led Chu Zhetian and others into this Great Jin ruins, and Chu Zhetian received the inheritance of the Great Jin Emperor's ancestor. His strength once again advanced by leaps and bounds. And the people around him, Yueyue, Yu Chaolu, his senior brothers and sisters, the 2nd Grand Elder, the Sect Master and others, their strength also reached an unprecedented level. Especially his daughter Yueyue, because of her spirit heart immortal physique, survived several crises and gained opportunities. As for fire, after merging with Tao, he even reached the celestial immortal realm. One day, Yueyue, although her strength improved by leaps and bounds, became a little tyrant, She also reached the Tao integration realm, but the demon seed in her body erupted again. At that time, having experienced various battles and gained a large amount of opportunities, Chu Zhetian's strength had reached the celestial immortal realm. So, he led fire and a group of his subordinates to launch a war of annihilation against the demon god palace. After going through a series of battles, intense fights, and casualties, the demon god palace was destroyed. The demon of the demon god palace who had planted the demon seed on Yueyue also perished in both body and soul. In this battle, Su Hongtu, Su Ruoyan, and Zhang Beichen, who had also reached the Tao integration realm, also joined the battle. They even thought that they had been cultivated by the demon god palace, and their strength was already above Chu Zhetian's. So, they were arrogant and shouted. However, they were casually crippled by Chu Zhetian. This time, the second Grand Elder, Su Beiwang, personally cleaned the sect and solved Su's father and daughter. Zhang Beichen was killed by Chu Zhetian himself. The demonic seed, Chu Kongqing, also wanted to take the opportunity to attack Yueyue, but was burned to death by fire. At this point, Chu Zhetian's past life's inner demons were completely eliminated. However, because of Yilingmei, the source of the demon seed was in her body, so Yueyue's demon seed was not yet eradicated. Chu Zhetian, while leading the Heavens Alliance to overthrow the Datsang dynasty, continuously clashed with their powerful experts. Dangers, opportunities. At the same time, he kept searching for Yilingmei's whereabouts. And once, after he broke through to the celestial immortal realm, he was surrounded by several great experts of the same realm from the Datsang dynasty and fell into a bitter battle. At this time, Imo Qingfei appeared. As a daughter of Heaven's Pride, her growth rate was also astonishing after leaving the Mayu sect. Originally, it was time for her to kill Chu Zhetian and avenge her guardian elder. However, Imo Qingfei ultimately decided to help Chu Zhetian fight against the several celestial immortals of the Datsang dynasty. Because of Imo Qingfei's joining, Chu Zhetian's pressure was greatly reduced, and he was able to defeat the enemies one by one. But in an unfortunate moment, Imo Qingfei's heart was shattered by the other side, and was also imbued with the power of death law. Even though Chu Zhetian's physical body had reached the myriad forms realm, his own essence blood could bring the dead back to life and regenerate flesh and bone, but he couldn't stop the death law from ravaging Imo Qingfei's life force. Although the enemies were dead, and the ones escaping were escaping, Imo Qingfei was on the verge of dying. Chu Zhetian asked Imo Qingfei why she was so stupid. She shouldn't have killed him. Why did she help him? Imo Qingfei lay in Chu Zhetian's arms and said, "Because you saved my life, this is what I owe you. Even if I want to avenge Xianxia, I will also kill you with my own strength, fair and square. If I can't kill you, I will be killed by you. But letting me stand by and do nothing while you die, I can't do it." Chu Zhetian's eyes were splitting open. He ran all the way with Imo Qingfei, looking for a chance of survival for her. Along the way, the two of them confessed their hearts to each other. Imo Qingfei felt that she was going to die, and finally said a sentence, "Actually, maybe because I like you?" The more he heard this sentence, the more heartbroken Chu Zhetian became. In the end, he brought Imo Qingfei to the extreme cold palace of the four great holy lands, and froze Imo Qingfei, whose life force had only one last strand left, in 10,000-year-old ice. And if he wanted to revive her completely, he would need Chu Zhetian's physical body to reach the world-destroying realm, and use his heart's blood. And this time, in order to preserve Imo Qingfei's life force, Chu Zhetian also agreed to a very harsh condition of the extreme cold palace. As the extreme cold palace of the four great holy lands, they also resisted the Datsang dynasty. The palace master wanted to become emperor on his own, and he let Chu Zhetian lead Tai Xu Sect and the Heavens Alliance to join the front lines of the battle with the Datsang dynasty's army of cultivators. And he was at the very front, at the most dangerous front line. But he didn't expect that they would face an army of evil cultivators led by Yilingmei. In that battle, both sides suffered heavy casualties. And in this battle, the Blood Wheel Eye absorbed the essence of flesh and blood from the mountains of corpses and seas of blood, allowing his physical body to directly reach the world-destroying realm. His alchemy realm also touched the Tribulation crossing realm during the battle. But just when he was breaking through in battle, unable to take care of other things, Fire and Yueyue, the brother and sister, were besieged by a large number of powerful evil cultivators. Fire's wings were torn off, suffering immensely, and Yueyue was also on the verge of death. At this critical moment, Yueyue saw that the leading evil cultivator was actually her own mother, Yilingmei. Before she died, Yueyue looked at Yilingmei and murmured with sorrow, despair, and longing, "Mommy." Yilingmei's Dao heart collapsed. She, who originally thought she was utterly ruthless, looked at Yueyue's appearance before she died and went completely insane. The last bit of maternal love and humanity allowed her to change sides and escaped from the battlefield with Yueyue and Fire. And Chu Zhetian, who had finished his breakthrough, found that Yueyue and Fire were missing and thought that his children had been harmed, and immediately his killing intent soared to the sky. In this battle, he had killed until his eyes were red. After a crushing victory, Chu Zhetian found Yueyue, Fire, and Yilingmei. At this time, Yilingmei was already on her last breath. After learning the whole story, Chu Zhetian, who was originally going to kill Yilingmei to completely solve the demon seed in Yueyue's body, hesitated. But Yilingmei looked down on him again, ridiculed him, said that he was still the trash that she had toyed with back then, made Chu Zhetian act quickly. In the end, Yilingmei chose to end her own life. "Since my daughter's demon seed was brought to her by me, then my death should end it." At this point, the demon seed in his daughter's body was finally completely resolved. And after Chu Zhetian's physical body reached the world-destroying realm, he also revived a Mo Qingfei. After this battle, the Datsong dynasty became a spent force. Chu Zhetian slashed the Heavens Alliance, united with the Extreme Cold Palace and other large forces, completely overthrew the Datsong dynasty. However, they fell into a state of separation. Many large cultivation forces occupied their own areas. This world seemed to be even more chaotic, and Chu Zhetian, relying on his memories of his previous life, began to search for the opportunities in his mind, one by one. A few years later, his alchemy and physical body realm reached the peak of this world. But just at this moment, the blood wheel eye underwent a change. The destroyer god, who had been dormant for a long time, began to attack Chu Zhetian,